Starting Monday, July 27th, we will be WWE Radio. Every show is going to be exactly the same that you know and love.
'Cause I'm a liar. Yeah, I'm a liar. I'll rip your mind out. I'll burn your soul. 'Cause I'm a liar.
And make no mistake about it. If you think I'm letting the foot off the gas, if you think you're not going to get what you're used to hearing from Dave LaGreca on a daily basis, you think I'm going to stop ranting? No!
Sucker! Sucker! Oh, sucker! I am a liar! Yeah, I am a liar! Yeah, I like it! I feel good! Oh, I am a liar! Yeah! I lie! I lie! I lie! Oh, I lie! I'll lie again! And again! I'll lie again and again! And I'll keep lying! I promise.
You know, I don't know what's better. The fact that he had to read a teleprompter, if you look closely, or the fact that he had to edit his video and even had to edit it so he would say, no! Oh, my God. Seriously. I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. I went to my office this morning. I logged into my computer and I said, you know what? I've told you guys before, in my office, I play Sirius satellite channel, the 70s. A lot of my customers are a little bit older, and over the years, I've experimented. I would have a week where I would play the 80s channel, the 70s channel, the 50s, the 90s, even the disco channel. And for some reason, when I play the 70s, I get more compliments from customers. So I already have Sirius XM in my office to the streaming. So I say, I'm going to put on channel 156 today, listen to a little bit of Busted Open and see what's going on, give them the benefit of the doubt. I mean, we talked about it yesterday. I knew AEW was not going to be discussed. I mean, you have to be an absolute moron to think that that was going to be the case. This is WWE Radio. Why would you do that? I mean, seriously, because to be nice? I mean, it's ridiculous. But I wanted to see the style. First thing I noticed is that, Dave's background is different. His hair looks like the guy from Back to the Future, Michael J. Fox's father. You know the guy, that Biff tried to bang it. You look at his hair. All you got to do is dye it black and it looks like him. Honestly. You would think that he woke up one day and Mr. Spock was going to melt his brain. But I watched it, and boy, you could literally feel the nuts being cut off. I don't care if you have Seth Rollins on. I don't care if you have the president on. I don't care if you get former presidents on. I don't care if you get my favorite wrestlers on. Fact of the matter is, he lied. He lied. And I don't think anybody would have had a problem because, look, I don't believe they sold out because I've been telling you guys for years that this was coming. It's just that people didn't want to believe it. No. Busted Open is different. Bully Ray, Dave LaGreca, Nick, whatever his name was from back in the day. I don't remember his name. Like, no. You don't understand. No, I totally understood. This day was coming. And I give them nothing but praise for advancing their livelihood, for advancing their career. Trust me, if I was in their position, I would have done the same thing. The difference is I would have been transparent about it. I would have told my listeners 2 fucking years ago, 3 years ago, when you're starting to take storylines that you know is storyline and you're trying to treat it as real. You know, and we brought up numerous examples in the past. I mean, there's been deception for a while. And listen, that's why they're there. That's how the game is played. There is a level of deception. A lot of listeners and viewers feel like they got fucked in the ass, if we just say it bluntly. And honestly, I say this in closing. I say this fast in closing. Congratulations to everyone who is banking on this, making money, advancing. There's a lot of good people, not just those 3-4 guys, involved. There's a lot of good people that are getting an opportunity now. But as far as the main hosts, you disrespected your audience. You deceived them, and you weren't transparent. And now you don't give a shit. Nobody's responded. How many people reached out to him in the last 24 hours? That's it. You're not going to get calls like you used to. You're going to get screened. They're going to blame it on trolls. It's dead. It's dead. It is now WWE. But remember, and I said this yesterday, and it's amazing that former referee Jimmy Corderas, give him props, man. He's the only person that I've seen write this, and no one else has, and we brought it up yesterday. You got to also remember SiriusXM was a very big part of this. All right, the numbers that Busted Open was giving was not the numbers that you think it is. You'll get these mainstream news outlets out there that will praise them and give them hand jobs and say, oh, they're the biggest wrestling show out there. Remember what we showed you yesterday. They need 14 to 16 different shows to pop up on SiriusXM, to pop up on Spotify, on Apple and everything. They need 16 different shows a week to get in the top 10. And you got people like Cornette that does one. Even Stephanie McMahon, give her credit, only one. I know a lot of you don't like Brother Love, Bruce Pritchard, one. You go look at some of these people that brag they're in the top 10, top 20. They need 14 different episodes for you to download, stream, just to stay in that hunt. When you see people that only do 1 to 3 shows a week, maybe 4 tops, and they're in the top 20, that's fucking impressive. All right, so there's a lot of smoke and mirrors. So make no mistake about it. But I listened to a lot of it today, and you know what the worst part about it is? This is the worst part about it. When I was a kid, teenager, 20-something-year-old, there was a sports network here in New York, radio, 66 WFAN. I know it's still around, but they're worse than Busted Open now. And I used to listen to all different shows during the day. All different hosts, and everybody gave something different. There would be different topics, different this, and a lot of the hosts would not overlap each other because they would discuss, listen, I'm going to tackle this, I'm going to tackle that. If you get live callers and they want to bring up the same topics, there's nothing you could do about that. But I literally listened to 3 different shows back to back to back today, and they're all talking the same shit. Cody and CM Punk, SummerSlam, literally back to back to back. I don't need 2-3 Raw recaps. We don't need 2 SmackDown recaps. So let it be. Let's move on. And all my ad revenue went out the door today because I played the Rollins band, in case you don't know. And trust me, I wanted to play the old DTKC theme on YouTube. It'll be on the audio download if anybody downloads the audio version. Sick of it all. Take the night off. Let's celebrate that we don't give a fuck. Let's celebrate that we don't care. If you know the lyrics of that song, it's the complete opposite. That was our anthem for well over a decade. And the lead singer, Roy Kohler, passed away a couple of days ago at the age of 59. I mentioned it briefly yesterday. That guy was friends with Kev. God rest Kev's soul. They're hanging out now in the heavens. Kev used to work with them with music, bands or whatever, booking them. And, the funny thing is, one of the reasons why we were never able to go on YouTube and play that theme song is because there's a record label that owns the song. And Lou used to tell Kev, he would say, listen, I wish I can tell this record label, hey, let those guys play the song, but you can't do that, even if you're the owner, the performer of that song. And he was a big supporter of what we did. And I'm not a fan of metal, but Kev made me learn a little bit about Lou early on. And I realized, how good of a guy that he was. And he just died from cancer of the esophagus. 59 years old, man. That's just awful. A couple of days ago. So on the audio download tonight, you will hear that song because we can do it there. But unfortunately on YouTube, if I'm going to play Rollins Band and I'm going to play Sick of It All too, you're just asking YouTube to strike me down. So, just rest in peace, Lou. Rest in peace, man. We got a fun show tonight, I think. Raw happened a few moments ago. Not a bad show. I think the problem is very few matches. I mean, obviously, as far as matches go, we're going to remember this night for one thing and one thing only. Congratulations to Raquel Rodriguez. She won the Women's Intercontinental Championship. For those that don't know, that's her first singles title on the main roster. She debuted on the main roster back in 2022. And I remember the aura of her coming from the NXT. I remember that night with Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez and Bianca Belair. I believe those were the three in the ring. And we thought Raquel Rodriguez, man, she's going to start collecting gold. And listen, she's held several titles, lots of tag team titles, no question. This is her first singles title on the main roster. Can you believe that? So she won it today. And listen, I get it. A lot of people like, oh, Sol Ruca, bad experiment, this and that. She's still new to the main roster. And I'm not trying to be Mr. Goody Two-Shoes. I'll tell you straight up how I feel. Trust me, I'm going to criticize somebody today. And some of you people are going to be like, whoa, I guess you're not going eating with him anytime soon. I'm going to say something later. It's going to surprise some people. But this is the difference between me and a lot of others out there. But I'll say this about Raquel Rodriguez and Sol Ruca. Sol Ruca is just still very new on the main roster. And not only does she have to adapt and learn, but the people that she works with, a lot of them have never really worked with her before, or maybe just had a cup of coffee. And it's not easy to gel with someone when you're not doing house shows repeatedly, when you're not working various events, a lot of TV. You don't get that luxury. And Sol Ruca, some of the people she's facing, there's no real history behind it. So you got to give it time. She's got to learn, adapt. It just started. We can't write her off yet. I mean, WWE is definitely planning a big future for her. I am surprised. I'm definitely surprised that she lost the title this quickly. But tonight's Raw, maybe Ethan Page and Rey Mysterio, but what a horrible Raw when it comes to matches. Do we have just 4 matches tonight? I think we just had 4. It was just really, I don't know. I just thought this Raw was filled with skits. There was one point where we had 4 or 5 talking segments in a row. We'll recap it. Even Hell in a Cell cut a promo tonight. Did you hear that voice? That Hell in a Cell promo? The fucking Cage was talking. I am the Devil's Widow. I am this. I am the end of it all. Blah, 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 blah. The best way I could describe the voice is if you took like the biggest fucking nerd, the biggest nerd that transitioned, and no, I'm not saying from a boy to a girl or a girl to a boy. I'm talking about a nerd that transitioned into an even bigger nerd and then told AI, make that nerd sound tough. That's what you got tonight. Who the fuck chose that voice? You have so many like powerful voices that do commercials. I mean, you got voices that are intimidating, almost like Darth Vader-like. Hell in a Cell changes lives, changes people's careers, ends people's careers. And you got some fucking nerd. I am the finisher. I am, it says, you are nothing. You are nothing. It was awful. It was awful. You could see WWE's really fucking dependent way too much on AI. Yes, I'm having Zambuca 2 nights in a row. I slept like a baby yesterday. Raw in Los Angeles tonight. We'll get into it. We got a preview and predictions for SummerSlam. Both cards have been revealed, finally. On the live stream, there is a poll. I would love for all of you to take part in it. Tell me which night seems more impressive to you as far as the card-wise. I already know my choice. I don't want to reveal it yet and influence the voting. But in case anybody out there did miss the bus today and needs a quick refresher, this is the official card for night one of SummerSlam. And yes, later on we do predictions. We will flash back to 2025 like we always do with premium live events. We will remind everyone what we got a year ago. Only 6 matches per night. Expect some skits. Expect some sports people get involved, maybe even celebrities. I have some things to say about Ryan Garcia a little bit later. But for night one, and let me say one other thing. Before I get into the card, I think this is important. No first hour for free on ESPN for SummerSlam. That, to me, is tremendous. Instead, what they are going to do is a pre-show that is going to start at 3 p.m. Eastern. And the main card starts at 6 p.m. Eastern. So ESPN will have a preview show for a couple of hours, previewing the matches. And I think that's the right way to do it. It kind of reminds me of back in the day when we used to watch Viewer's Choice, an in-demand pay-per-view. And like an hour before the show, I mean, yeah, it was all pre-recorded, but you would see like highlights, vignettes, and packages that would try to entice you to buy the event. Sunday Night Heat, AEW buy-in. You don't need to take part of the card and put it on an app trying to get people to subscribe. It just, and it fucks up the match placement. I mean, that's what killed it the last bunch of premium live events. Putting 2 of the most important matches on an entire card for the first hour because you want to try to get people to buy it and upgrade their membership to unlimited. And it hurt these events. I mean, overall, you got the same match outcomes. You got the same matches. But the thing is, when you watch a movie, you got a beginning, you got a middle, and you got an end. And it's supposed to build up in a certain way. So when the ending happens, you're like, holy shit, I got to see that movie again. It shouldn't be like this. Looks like a fucking heart monitor. It's bullshit. So now they're doing a pre-show. The big question is this just for SummerSlam or is this going to be a permanent thing? I hope to God, if I'm ESPN, tell WWE, add fucking dark matches, add a pre-show match. There's no reason why you can't do a fucking pre-show match. Do a segment, do something. If something really good happens on the pre-show, you could show highlights of it later on. There's no reason why you can't show highlights. During the ESPN pre-show today, so-and-so came out and blah, 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 blah. Or maybe Lyra Vacaria cut a promo and here comes Bayley. Bayley attacks Lyra because Bayley, don't write her off yet. Bayley did return this past weekend in California during a WWE house show. She attacked Lyra Vacaria. I think Lyra was fighting for the Intercontinental Championship. And then Bayley showed up and just beat the fuck out of her. I don't write Bayley off as of yet, but I'm just saying, why? I hated that they were doing that. Ridiculous. And by the way, best wishes go out to Raquel Rodriguez. She did have her nose broken during this match today. So not only did she gain gold, but she also gained fucking broken nose in the process. So you saw that nose swelling up, man. Made Triple H's nose look like a fucking baby penis. So, all right, so let's get into both cards very quickly. Not doing predictions yet. I'm just revealing the lineups for anybody that may not have known it. Night one, we have the Usos and Jacob Fatu versus Royce Keys, Solo Sikoa, and LA Knight. We have Fatal Influence versus the Bellas, the return of Nikki Bella, who gave us some wonderful news over the weekend. I don't know if you heard about it. We'll talk about that momentarily. And Paige, 6-woman tag. We have Gunther, I think, taking on Nick Aldis. Not sure by that AI photo that they never fucking fixed. Liv Morgan defending the Women's World Championship against Io Sky. Cody Rhodes challenging CM Punk for the undisputed WWE Championship. And Brock Lesnar taking on Femi in Hell in a Cell. That is your lineup for night one. Now, for night two. Now, we have the 5-woman ladder match to determine a new interim championship. The current WWE Women's Championship is held by Rhea Ripley, who is out with injury. Not expected to be out an extremely long period of time, so they're doing an interim champion as well. There is still one slot to be determined. That slot will be determined on Friday. I will give you a prediction who will win that slot and who will win that match later on. We have Finn Balor versus Sami Zayn, and the winner of that match becomes the number one contender for the undisputed WWE Championship. Dominic Mysterio taking on Danhausen, and there is now a stipulation added. It'll be human monies on a pole. Basically, the Judgment Day's $10,000 will be in a briefcase, suspended in the air, kind of like a Money in the Bank, but with monies instead. That is one of the matches. Chad Gable will challenge Penta for the Intercontinental Championship. We have Baron Corbin challenging Trick Williams for the United States Championship, and Roman Reigns defending the World Heavyweight Championship against the asshole, Seth Rollins. You saw Raw tonight. You know why I'm saying that. Want to see something freaky? You know, Danhausen's living his best life right now. It is kind of bizarre how big this guy has become. It's bizarre. It just really is. I mean, don't get me wrong. That fucking song today, man, it felt like a record that was scratched and it kept saying the same thing. Oh, trust me, when we recap Raw, yeah, we will definitely bring up that song. I mean, Joe Hendry should be embarrassed with himself what we got tonight. And it was funny because when Joe Hendry did the guitar at the very beginning, I thought Elias was coming out. I expected to hear, "Hello, I'm Elias. I always sound Jewish." He might be Jewish. "Hello, I'm Elias." Danhausen had the blimp in Madison Square Garden. This motherfucker now has his own truck. ESPN took a refrigerated truck and wrapped it with the ESPN logo and put Danhausen's fucking head on the front and on the sides. And what's going to happen is that truck is going to travel all around Minneapolis, I guess Saturday, because he can't do it Sunday. He's got a match. But they're going to drive around Minneapolis to give out ice cream for the children. And I believe it's free. I think it's free. Tax write-off, my friends, tax write-off. But if you want to see the front, that is the front. That is scary, man. I mean, that is scary. That, to me, you know, I was watching the opening from a vintage movie that I absolutely loved the other day, The Naked Gun. Remember Frank Drebin, Police Squad? Remember when he broke into that boat and started beating up all the terrorists? I literally would love for that fucking truck to like go in like some country that has like nothing but terrorists there, or maybe even Guantanamo Bay, and literally just plow everybody. Literally just fucking blast on, not really run everybody over, scare the shit out of them, and just fucking drive that. Just imagine somebody like running up to that. That is just, I don't know. Like I saw that and I'm like, I don't know if I should think that's cool, if I'm getting fucking nightmares by that. The most amazing thing is if that thing gets into a car accident, that's going to be funny, man. But yeah, that truck is going to be traveling around giving away free ice cream to kids. Nice thing to do. Tax write-off. Tax write-off. All right. Since we got Danhausen's truck out of the way, and we revealed the lineups. I do want to say one very quick thing. AEW Redemption. I watched some of it today. There's only so many hours in a day to be able to dedicate time for wrestling. I really wanted to check out a little bit of Busted Open today just to hear what it was about. Nothing that's made surprise me. Even Sam Roberts and some of the others, I mean, they've been doing their thing. Nothing really changes. But I started watching a little bit of AEW Redemption, and I understand there's a lot of people out there that feel that this was a pass as far as pay-per-views go because everybody's focused on All In. I totally get that, but we also need to understand that WWE does have pay-per-views sometimes, and it's right in the middle between Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania. And when you already have number one contenders mentioned for certain championships, and then they have a title match on a premium live event in between the two, it's the same vibe. It's the same vibe. I mean, if you're going to watch AEW Redemption, you watch it for the same reason why we watch Raw or we watch SmackDown. We like wrestling. We want to watch matches. You want to see lineups of why do you go to a house show? How often does a title change on a house show? Almost never. Why do you still go to a house show? Because you want to watch some good wrestling. It's the same mindset with AEW Redemption. I mean, I just saw people complaining about it, and I get it. $60, it's a lot of money. Nobody forces anybody to watch it. Some people, that's their job. Too fucking bad. Too bad. If I was a food critic, if it was up to me, I would only review Italian restaurants that didn't sell seafood. You know what I mean? I would just narrow my choices down to a very, very small thing. I wouldn't choose certain things, but, if that's what you do, unfortunately, that's what you do. But from what I've seen so far, I mean, it was a good pay-per-view. I was very surprised that Willow Nightingale won that championship. Very surprised. I don't know what the infatuation is with Willow Mercedes 2 in Wembley. I mean, it's a nice little gift for Willow. And this is obviously going to be a huge, huge, huge memory. But I kind of would have enjoyed to see Thekla and Mercedes Moné a little bit more. Putting Willow against Mercedes feels more like a WWE type of creative decision. But listen, Willow is great talent. That's really the thing that surprised me. Oh, and fucking Speedball Mike Bailey. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's just, I honestly wanted to see fucking Leo Rush in that match and win it. But, you can't always get what you want. We'll give you match results a little bit later. I will say this too. I saw a shitload of people complaining. This fucking show started an hour earlier and it still ended incredibly late. That's what happens, man. That's what happens. It's like you turn back the clock. Oh, I'm going to get an extra hour of sleep tonight. And then what happens? Something's on TV. It's like, oh, I get to watch TV an extra hour tonight. And you don't get that extra hour of sleep. That's pretty much what happened yesterday. I mean, it is what it is. So, speed bump Mike Bailey. I like that speed bump. Speed bump Mike Bailey. One last thing about AEW. We'll give you redemption, results later. I do want to mention this since I'm looking at the graphic. I might as well mention it now. Two things actually. First of all, Collision airs this Thursday. On Wednesday Night Dynamite, we do the weekend ratings. I will tell you, Impact scored its highest rating since being on AMC. They passed 300,000 viewers. Awesome for Impact. They also fucking banged out a tremendous 18-49 rating for their audience. But Collision once again is on Thursday. And the reason why they moved Collision is because SummerSlam is Saturday. So basically, we now see what is happening. WWE is basically greasing up the sausage, greasing it up. And then what happens periodically is NXT and sometimes NXT and AAA will have an event, a special, a premium live event, head-to-head with AEW pay-per-view. That's what WWE does, which I think is an absolutely stupid decision, because why would you want NXT's CW rating to be awful because you know people are watching an AEW pay-per-view, but they did it. Great American Bash numbers sucked. We knew it was going to suck, but they do that anyway. So when people ask Tony Khan, how do you feel that they're putting NXT up against AEW, blah, 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 blah. Tony Khan, as in return, is like, all right, we'll take AEW Collision and we'll put it head-to-head on a Thursday night against Impact Wrestling. And Carlos Silva's like, why am I getting this up my ass? I am not involved in any of this. See, Carlos, you got to be careful who you're friends with, because unfortunately you are the victim of circumstance. So TNA Impact right now, the victim of circumstance. NXT screws AEW, AEW screws TNA Impact on Thursdays. Everybody gets screwed in the end. Everybody dies. So Thursday, Collision. You want to see something I think is awesome? This Wednesday, AEW Dynamite will be a special tribute show to Rebel. I'm not saying this to be funny. She didn't die yet, but she's suffering from terminal ALS. We've talked about it multiple times. It is awful to see what's happening with her. It's heartbreaking. I can only imagine what that must feel like, not just the suffering physically and mentally, but knowing that there's no cure and you know that your days are numbered. So they're doing a special episode Wednesday called Rebel Heart. And from what I was told, listen, I'm not trying to put Tony Khan on the spot because I'm the only one that wrote this online today, but apparently Tony Khan is making some type of a donation. I don't know if it's for ALS research, but there is some donation stuff being put together. Somebody that works behind the scenes in AEW DM'd me over the weekend and told me a few things, which I thought was really, really nice because I was asked to plug it a little bit. As a wrestling fan, I'll say this. If Britt Baker does not return Wednesday, she ain't ever coming back. Because if there's anybody that is tied with Rebel over the years in AEW, it's Britt Baker. You absolutely have to put Britt Baker back on TV. Even if she's never back on TV ever again, you got to put her on TV Wednesday. I expect her to be on TV Wednesday. If they don't do that, it's just the optics are going to look awful. And honestly, I tell you, she'll be there. She has to be there. She will be there. So, but, if you want to watch it, I am watching Dynamite Wednesday. I definitely want to see it. It's going to be happy tears, sad tears. It's going to be a very emotional episode because, look, we said this about Joe Doring recently. You remember when he went into hospice, I called out a couple of bullshit wrestling news sites out there. We wish Joe Doring a speedy recovery and pray for a miracle. You're in hospice. That's it. Game over. That's it. They're just making you comfortable for your final days. There is no recovery. That's it. It's kind of like even last week with the Janelle Grant lawsuit with Vince McMahon. Instead of people just saying it's over, they're like, a judge must sign off on this in order for this to be a complete judge. Dick. These are people that just have to hold it till the very end. And then I got to say it. Just call it what it is. And I said, if you ever appreciated Joe Doring, send him a message. Don't wait till tomorrow. Because tomorrow may never come. Fucking guy died 2 days later. So, it sucks, man. ALS is just very, very vicious, and you see what it's doing to her and others. So, I just wanted to mention that early on. So, yeah, I could be an asshole. I could be a little bit of a jerk at times, but, putting all the goofiness aside, I mean, we all here truly give a shit and truly care. I really do. So, all right, let's talk a little bit about Raw. This is going to be such an easy episode to cover. It's because really, I mean, was this a good go-home show for SummerSlam? I don't know, man. I mean, Brock and Oba, all right. You know, they can't touch each other, obviously. I'm not trying to be a goody two-shoes. But to me, I understand wrestling is supposed to be exaggerated bullshit. Sometimes it gets even wacky and goofy. But why even have police in the ring with fake fucking guns on top of it? Go watch it back tonight. I watched a guy get powerbombed and I'm like, I don't even care if that's a water gun. That shit must have hurt his fucking pelvis. You have cops, not security guards, cops. And Oba Femi's beating the shit out of all of them, throwing them, tossing them like a salad. I know Brody King was there with the popcorn. He's like, yeah, I want to do that. I say it jokingly. But to me, that's just dumb. It's dumb enough that it's a baby face doing that. You're like, Steve Austin, you stun a fake cop, you get put in handcuffs, and you get arrested. You know, Oba Femi does it 2 times now, and nothing happens. It's just dumb. I even think Oba Femi stands there and he's like, this is fucking retarded. It's stupid. I mean, I could see if a heel does that, but to turn around and he just walks off and the cops do nothing, why even have cops? Why even have cops? I mean, why not put something even worse in the ring? You know, because cops, you know, it's not believable. It's just ridiculous. I remember when WWE used to do those segments and there'd be cops all around the ring, and then some of them would over-exaggerate and make it look like they have their hands on the pistola. You know, we saw things like that. Even when Vince with Austin, you see cops with their hands on the pistola. And you're like, ooh, you know, this looks serious now. Here, you just see people just getting power bombed, and they have and literally they're just laying there, and I'm like, you have handcuffs, use them. Like, nobody fucking whips. Stop right there. Just not believable. So we have the weigh-in, and I thought the weigh-in was very cute. And by the way, I thought what Nikki Bella said was very cute also over the weekend. We'll talk about that when we get to predictions. She said something very interesting about 2027. I know some of you know where I'm going with that, but she said something specific that caught my eye. Oh boy, 2027. Not touch that. So anyway, Oba Femi comes out to the ring first for the weigh-in. So not only do we have the weigh-in, but they portray it like they're doing a weigh-in inside Hell in a Cell. No one can escape the scale. Adam Pearce is in the ring. Triple H is in the ring. And a whole bunch of fake cops are in the ring. Oba Femi shows up. Oba Femi gets on the scale, 302 pounds. 302 pounds. So now it's Brock Lesnar's turn. Brock comes out, and apparently Brock has a padlock and a chain. So when Brock gets to ringside, Brock decides, I'm going to lock the cage closed. So now Brock is on the outside. Paul Heyman is on the outside with him, and Oba's in the inside with everybody else. And Brock is taunting Oba a little bit. Paul Heyman gets the microphone, had some audio problems early on, but he starts doing the same shtick for the last couple of weeks. You know, Brock is the beast in the Broctagon. Brock is undefeated in Hell in a Cell, a streak that will never be broken. Brock is this, Oba this, Oba this, you're overrated, blah, 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 blah. Same shit. So Oba wants Brock in the ring for the weigh-in. Come on, I am the Ula. I command you. Get on this scale, coward, scale, ruler. Paul Heyman says, oh, by the way, Brock weighed himself in the back. So Oba was 302 pounds. Can you guess what Brock's weight was? 303 pounds. Brock is 1 pound heavier than Oba. So, Brock basically gets the microphone for Paul Heyman, and Brock gives the, like we know over the years for Paul Heyman, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman, and does the whole stick. Brock Lesnar uses the same phrase every year. It's just different premium live events. And what does he say? I'll see you at SummerSlam, bitch. And he walks off. So Oba gets on the microphone, run away like the coward you are. Saturday is coming. SummerSlam is coming. Oba Femi is coming. And Brock just keeps walking off. So Oba gets mad and decides, I'm going to beat up the fake cops. I don't like it. Especially Los Angeles, the Intuit Center. I mean, I know they have a lot of problems with gang violence and everything. Cops are not very well respected in Los Angeles, but not like that. Oba beating up police again. Fuck the police. Well, that's a song. So that's what we got. So now we get more video packages reminding us about the Shield, reminding us about recent WrestleManias, reminding us that Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns have had much more of history recently than we kind of are supposed to think. And the Bloodline arrive. So now we get the tag team title match. And I say this not to be an asshole, not to be controversial, not to be cruel. Otis needs to go. Otis, I honestly think 90-year-old women in my office that are suffering from different ailments are better moving than Otis. This guy, it's almost, he moves around like me. When I'm tired, I'm lazy, and I drop a sock on my floor, and my wife will say, pick that sock up, and I'll just no-sell it. Or I'll just pretend come on, leave me alone. This guy fucking moves around slow, almost like a turtle. I almost want to rename him the Polak Turtle, the Polish Turtle, because he calls himself the Polak God or whatever it is, the Polak Hunk. He's the Polish Turtle. He just moves too slow. He is just too old now. There's no fire lit. The whole storyline now is he's a balding, heavy guy who's pussy whipped over beautiful blonde women. There's just nothing there. I do like the name of the finisher now, where Braun hits the spear and Austin Theory holds him up. They call it double vision. I'm sorry, every time I hear that, I think of that 70s song. Double, double, double vision. Oh, ooh, double vision. So they hit double vision on Tozawa. We get the beatdown. And I'm like, well, it's Los Angeles. All right, we'll hear, the Street Profits music hit. Make the save. Remember, they lost tag titles. Maxine Dupree hit Angelo Dawkins in the nuts. They've never to be seen ever again. Not only his nuts, but neither one of those guys. I'm like, who's going to come out and make the save? And then you realize, nobody. Even in storyline, you might have people in gorilla position, and TKO with the WWE Unreal Season 4, producers are in the back. No. Just leave them out there by themselves. No. Just leave them out there. And literally, when I watched Tozawa getting beat up and Otis gets the upper hand, focus on Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker had to slow down and just stand there and wait to get beat up. It just looks so ridiculously bad. Then Austin Theory's laid out in the ring, and Otis can't even get him positioned properly in the corner. So he gets like a brain fart and decides, I'm going to pull him to the other side of the corner. Maxine Dupree climbs the apron and pretends like she's going to kiss Otis, and Otis, dummy, and what happens? Otis gets attacked, And then the most beautiful thing, if you go back and watch it, you'll see it. Otis is laid out. And if you look closely, Otis scrambles to the corner. So it's not like he saw like a piece of a hot dog and go, food, and he ran. Or as people used to say, like a certain nationality, you throw a penny on the floor and you just watch them run for it. That's an old 70s joke. You literally will watch Otis run to the corner on his knees. He just like books to the corner. So you know something's being set up. It's the funniest thing. You got to see it. Austin Theory's on a rampway with Maxine Dupree. And I kid you not. You have the ringside area and you have the padding. It's not guardrails where you could see through the guardrails on the other side. You have padding. Maxine Dupree goes to Austin Theory and says, she points over there. And if you look at it, you just see padding. And she points over there and she's like, and Austin Theory looks, and lo and behold, there's a folding chair. And the folding chair is folded and on the floor. And I know someone's going to say, well, maybe she put it there and set it up. Why would you hide it? Why would you hide it behind the guardrails around people? You're right next to the announcer's area and the timekeeper's table. There's lots of folding chairs there. It's like she had X-ray vision. How the fuck did you know there was a folding chair just conveniently on the floor along the side on the padding? So Austin Theory picks it up, and Otis has his head between the corner post, and Austin Theory hits the post, and if you watch it in slow motion, he wailed Otis right in the head. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of like worse than the Bailey treatment. I think they just wrote Otis off TV. I don't wish anybody to be released. But listen, man, let's be honest for a minute. If I'm watching baseball and you got a player that is batting under 200 for far too long, you turn around and you say, listen, you either send him to the minors or you let him go, release him. You get a pitcher that has an ERA of 7. All right, or if you have someone that is older now and is not delivering, you don't turn around and say, oh, don't release him. He's such a nice guy. Oh, don't release him. Come on, that's Otis. Come on, that's Otis. How can you do that? How can you say that? That's cruel. Any other profession, you don't deliver. You know, you work in a factory, and all you got to do is put bottle caps like Laverne and Shirley on top of bottles. And you get so like tired, like all these bottles are going by and you fucking miss like every, but that's Shirley. Come on, you can't do that. Fuck that. Why is that in wrestling when someone can't perform on that elite level anymore? You have to let them go. And I'm not trying to be cruel to Otis. I like Otis. I mean, I spent fucking, a decade praising that guy. Now I'm suddenly evil because I say that. It's time. It's time. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. You know, maybe you get yourself in different shape. Come back. Do like what Braun Strowman. When Vince thought that Braun couldn't move around anymore, and Braun came back and he was a fucking maniac. Come back and show different. Go on the fucking Bronson Reed diet. Do something. Get your knees replaced. Get your hip replaced. Do something. Because unfortunately, you just can't sit around acting like your arms don't move. Like you had fucking injections that your arms don't move. Like you're just like a stuffed shirt. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You know, like, it's time. You're using up TV time. And meanwhile, Street Profits and a lot of others are not on TV. Get rid of them. Sorry. That's how I feel about it. So, Alpha Academy loses as expected. I watched an esteemed podcaster out there with 270,000 subscribers trying to tell people over the weekend, you know, I think Braun Breaker should lose the titles. Give Alpha Academy a really wonderful moment. Little revenge on Maxine Dupree, and then Braun Breaker could go on and move this. And I'm like, oh, yeah, and just put the world title on him. And he could just have the whole set. Idiots. Jackie Redmond is with LA Knight. And once again, LA Knight does not deliver. And he's in LA on top of it. His first promo tonight was that he's paranoid. That's it. Jackie accuses LA Knight, paranoid. Paranoid? You're damn right I'm paranoid. Blah, 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 blah. Paranoid. And that was it. Like, okay. This was the part where we had like 5 segments in a row. Then we have Raquel Rodriguez cutting a promo Chica, on Sol Ruca in the match later on. Then we get a Chad Gable promo talking about his match and how important it is in his family in Minnesota. And they say, oh, wait till I get into betting odds later. Holy shit. There's one betting odd on someone's match. You're going to be like, really? There might be, if you guys want to bet on a match, I got one for you. You might win a crazy amount of money. I'm not kidding. There's one betting. I literally had to double check like 3 different websites to make sure that this wasn't an error or Dave Meltzer creation of his mind. Io Sky cuts a promo. So all these segments are one after the other. We get Rusev versus Javon Evans. This is the third of their matches. Each one had a match apiece. This wasn't best out of 3. There was one way back, I think, Elimination Chamber time or whatever, but this was a decent match. There was only one match tonight that got This Is Awesome chance. I'll tell you which match that is in a little while. It hasn't happened yet. Remember, we only have, 4 matches on the card, right? 4 matches on the card? No, we only had 3. 3 matches tonight. Anyway, Javon Evans beats Rusev. Rusev fakes an injury during the match, but Javon Evans ultimately gets the win. Am I concerned with Rusev? Yes and no. I don't think it's Aleister Black territory. You can see that WWE has a little bit more confidence in Rusev. His presence is different, but I'm a little concerned on how much of the balloon has been let out of Rusev. I'm a little concerned because there are a bunch of releases coming up soon. Some people in the WWE roster are definitely concerned. If I'm certain people in the WWE roster, I absolutely have to be concerned because this is not Vince McMahon's company anymore. This is TKO. And some people are paid quite nicely. And then, you see how they're treated and blame it on creative too. See, this is the thing that always gets me. And this is a point that I wish every person out there would make. And I don't say it enough, but I'll say it here right now. WWE creative is in control. Who wins and who loses. Who gets pushed and who doesn't. And I know what you're saying, DT. I know what you're saying right now. DT, no fucking shit. Here's my point. If someone's perception is concerning by fans and you are in creative and you know that you have the control, that if you like a particular person, you think that person is beneficial for the company, you could turn around and change things in 24 hours. Like if you get someone like Johnny Gargano, for example, all right, Johnny Gargano laying on a fucking piece of stage equipment for 19 months, all right, it's funny at first, and then it's like, no one in TKO could be looking at this and being like, yeah, we're spending our money the right way right now. And honestly, I think every time they show up and they have him do that segment, I think they realize, holy shit, it's one more shot of Russian roulette. Now, I say this for a reason. Now, let's say you're WWE creative. You look at all the creative guys from WWE Unreal that you saw in season 3. And a lot of people in creative, like, we like Johnny Gargano. We want to push that guy. That guy definitely deserves more. Well, why not? Why aren't you doing it? That creative team could turn around Friday, make him get up and fucking take shit seriously. So when you see someone getting misused and then they get released, understand that creative did not have any confidence in them. Because if they did, they wouldn't keep doing this dumb fucking shit or keeping them off TV or having them lose dumb matches repeatedly. If WWE creative was very high on Rusev, all right, there's ways of giving back. There's ways of giving rubs. There's ways on putting people over at times. But when people kind of feel like, okay, this guy just feels like he's being jobbed out. If a lot of people feel that way, it's probably because it's being perceived that way. So if WWE creative sees that, hears about it, reads about it, and that's the pulse, and there's indifference, and you do nothing about it, that's on WWE creative. And that's something that no one really ever talks about. WWE creative, if they want to get behind someone, they could do it right now. And they don't. Why don't they? All right. Oh, God. Danhausen, Joe Hendry doing this concert. I believe that you are cursed. 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 I believe. See, I'm trying to make it more interesting. That's what this concert was. It literally 25 times. And you had a bunch of fucking midgets. Remember, Michael Cole said they want to be called midgets. So any midgets out there, don't get mad at me. We had the fucking midgets again. And then we see the WBC welterweight champion, Ryan Garcia. He jumps the guardrail like a Congo line. You know, everybody, I believe that you are cursed. I believe that you are cursed. Hits the ring, fucking wails Joe Hendry. Oh, thank God. Thank God. It was all a setup. And they fucking leave Danhausen laying Joe Hendry. They just, if you pay attention to the crowd, after the third or fourth time that they said it, the crowd's like, okay, move on. And I'm not exaggerating. Go back and watch it. It was just not a good segment. They leave the guys laying, and then later on, Danhausen's in the back, ow, 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 ow. And Adam Pearce is like, give the Judgment Day back their money. You know, like, because Adam Pearce has no power. You know, please, Danhausen, give him back the money. I've had enough. We need to settle this once and for all. Human money is on a pole. Is that what's going to solve this? Yes, human money is on a pole. It's official. SummerSlam, human money's on a pole. Usos, I told you, this Raw is skits and segments for the most part. The Usos come out and they're trying so hard to get that bow over, and there was like no reaction to it. And Jey Uso had to say it like 7 times. And you go back and watch it, you think he's drunk, but you realize they're just saying it because they're trying to get the crowd to say it, and nobody's saying it. So they're cutting their promos. And then this is where it gets like weird territory. Solo Sikoa interrupts them, and he's acting like he's a babyface. He's putting over California. He's teaming up with LA Knight and Royce Keys at SummerSlam. Then he says Roman Reigns could kick my ass. Oh, yeah, that's going to get over and fucking on Raw. And, like, I see, like, this big sports podcast that's not even wrestling. They're like, how's this for a bizarre world? Solo Sikoa is a babyface and the Usos are heels. I'm like, fuck you watching. Jey Uso is immensely over. You can't figure out who is what. LA Knight's clear-cut babyface. Royce Keys clear-cut babyface. Solo Sikoa, I don't know what he is. But I have some thoughts when we get to predictions. So what happens? We get a whole clusterfuck. LA Knight shows up on the rampway and talks about the bloodline for the 900th time. And he talks about something, how he doesn't pump purple piss. Say that fast 10 times. And then Solo with more talk. And next thing you know, you got Solo and LA Knight going at it with the Usos. And then Jacob Fatu's music hits. And meanwhile, I'm watching this all go down, and there's no Royce Keys out there. And here's where I can say something. People are going to be like, DT, that's not nice. They're saving Royce Keys for the final entrance, and I get it. Cali, Los Angeles, hometown boy, crowd should pop big for it. Didn't happen. Royce Keys comes out to no reaction. He's trying to clean house. We did get a cool confrontation with him and Jacob Fatu. They came up on the indies together. They are good friends. And then it hit me. Why the fuck is Royce Keys getting crickets tonight? And then I'm like, I get it. He comes out there and he starts brawling with Jey Uso. And I'm saying to myself, WWE Creative, you want this guy to come off as a baby face, all right? Jey Uso's probably the last person, maybe LA Knight too, but go after Jimmy. If anybody, go after Jimmy, Big Jim. They have him going after Jey. Of course the fans are going to pop for Jey. You have Royce Keys beating on baby faces, and there's no reaction. It's not his fault. I don't know what the hell WWE Creative did here, but I'm looking at this match and I'm like, I get it. It's not necessarily all baby face or heel. It's this and that. Like, it's kind of in the middle, and this person's this, the enemy of my enemy's my friend. Boy, that is just a horrible, horrible combination. Because you got baby faces, and you're putting them out there in a spot where they're supposed to get the pop, the save, and then you got them beating up bigger baby faces. And then people are like, no, I'm going to cheer for Jey Uso. It was just bad. It was bad. Really bad. So that was the segment. Oh, by the way, I wrote this on X. They showed Jimmy Hart sitting front row. And I have to point this out. Yes, he's definitely using that Plexiderm stuff. He's definitely using Plexiderm. He literally probably went on Amazon the day before and did fucking 7 a.m. shipping. And he's in his hotel room and he's putting Plexiderm on. Because if you look closely, there is not a fucking wrinkle on his forehead. But that guy is 82 years old. 82 years old. Jimmy Hart looks awesome. I get it. He always wears shades. His eyes look like the eyes of an 82-year-old. Funny thing is, Plexiderm works on the eyes too, but that guy looks amazing for 82, man. 82 years old. That's just tremendous. Few people are asking me, what is Plexiderm? Amazon sells it. A lot of beauty stores sells it. It's basically a chemical, like an ointment that what it does is if you put it in certain areas, it'll tighten up the skin temporarily for like 12 hours. So like if you go into a party, you go into a high school reunion and you want to look like you're 10 years younger. So maybe you get laid and then the next day they wake up and then they see the Plexiderm wore off. You're like, holy shit, you are ugly. How much did I drink last night? Plexiderm will it'll tighten up wrinkles. It'll actually erase wrinkles. I'm sure over the years you guys have seen infomercials where people like rub something, the crow's feet or whatever it is, like, oh my God, the wrinkles have disappeared. It only lasts for like 12 hours. I used it on my wedding. I swear to God, I admit I used it on my wedding. I didn't like this wrinkle over here, so I fucking put it like that, sealed it right up. So props to Jimmy Hart, man. Jimmy Hart looks awesome. 82 years old, man. 82. All right, here's where we had the Hell in a Cell promo. I am the final battlefield. I am the devil's playground. I am Hell in a Cell. You are an AI fucking nerd who's never been laid in your life, whether you like your M&Ms with peanut or plain. I don't know who in WWE Creative thought that was the ideal voice. It made Hell in a Cell look like a fucking bird cage. It just was, go back and watch it. I'm like, that's not intimidating at all. My God, you have so many voiceover people. You got people on Fiverr for $20. You got that fucking bum, the homeless guy. Anybody remember the homeless guy for like 10 years ago that fucking had like the Don King hair? And so he was begging for money and he started talking. It's like, you're listening to WKM. And you're like, oh my God, this guy has a number. Every TV show brought him on. People were fucking, buying him like a house and a car, and the guy's still a drug addict. A lot of you know what I'm talking about. Is his name? I don't think his name is Ted Williams. Trust me, if his name was Ted Williams, even though we know a few Ted Williams, I would remember that name, but a lot of you know who I'm talking about. He had like the lion hair. They cleaned him up. He was on the Today Show. Maybe it is Ted Williams. I don't know, but oof. You could get that guy's voice. And I think he lives in Los Angeles. On top of it, you could literally buy him a burger, and weed's legal, right? You could have got him a dime bag and a burger, and he could have cut the promo. I am Hell in a Cell. I am the Devil's Playground. Blah, blah, blah. Instead, you get a fucking, oh, God, I don't want to say the word. Oof, I'm not saying it. Can't say it. No. All right, Sol Ruca loses the Women's Intercontinental Championship to Raquel Rodriguez. We talked about it early on in the night. Raquel did suffer a broken nose during this match. Roxanne Perez tried to interfere. Liv Morgan tried to interfere. Distractions. Io Sky's music hits. She ends up brawling with Liv Morgan at ringside. While all this is going on, Sol Ruca sees Raquel Rodriguez in the corner, attempts a soul snatcher, and fails. That allows Raquel Rodriguez to pick up Sol Ruca and hit her with the Tejada bomb. I was like, holy shit. She's going to get the victory. Sure enough, 1, 2, 3. Raquel Rodriguez is your new Women's Intercontinental Champion. First singles title on the main roster. She's been on the main roster for 6 years. And a really nice thing. Now the question is, what do you do with Roxanne Perez? Got to do something with Roxanne Perez. What's the next move? Does she feud with Liv Morgan? A lot of people think that's coming. Don't know. But right now, Roxanne is the only one as far as the women in Judgment Day without gold. So good. Congrats to Raquel Rodriguez. This is way, way overdue. And again, like I said earlier, nothing to worry about with Sol Ruca. If anything, this is a legit test. This is legit. You have to test people sometimes. How they, I'm sure Sol Ruca was not expecting to walk into Raw tonight and lose the championship, but she did. And I think because, the professionalism that we've always heard about her, she would have congratulated Raquel Rodriguez 1,000 times over. And, remember, it's just a Women's Intercontinental Championship. Hell, we could end up, that might be your next feud. A lot of people have been saying to me, Don Tony, for the last couple of weeks, who's Liv Morgan feud with next? Maybe it's going to be Liv Morgan and Sol Ruca. That's not out of the question. I think we may get Lara Vacaria and Raquel Rodriguez, which would be weird because it's two heels. You could also have Stephanie McMahon make a return and maybe she gets into it, Raquel Rodriguez. But you could very well end up getting Sol Ruca and Liv Morgan having a feud. Plus, we also got to remember, Io Sky might become the champion at SummerSlam. So we can't write off Io Sky because, maybe she ends up having to defend the championship. So congrats to Raquel Rodriguez. So that leaves us to the main event. We only had 3 matches, the main event. And this was, if we're being honest, rinse and repeat. Same shit. Roman Reigns comes out, does his intro. He says, Los Angeles! Before he could say, acknowledge me, Seth Rollins' music hits. And the announcer's like, ooh, that's not a good thing. So Seth Rollins comes out to the ring, gets on the mic, and he does Roman's intro. He says, Los Angeles, acknowledge me. And Roman, trying to be a little lighthearted, funny, is like, you see, that's how you ruin a good thing. So he calls Seth Rollins an asshole. Seth Rollins says, I'm guilty. I'm guilty, man. I'm guilty. Rollins says he's fine being the bad guy. He says that, and this reminded me so much of Cody Rhodes and CM Punk. If you took Cody Rhodes and CM Punk's feuds with Roman Reigns, have those two feuds, have sex with each other, get pregnant, and have a love child, you would have got Seth Rollins tonight. Because Seth Rollins does a little bit of both. He says that people like Roman Reigns get a head start. You start on third base. Seth has had to scrape and claw for everything that he's gotten. Then he proceeds to put over Roman Reigns. The same fucking thing like what CM Punk did the Raw before WrestleMania. You had all that heat and friction, And then CM Punk starts praising Roman Reigns, the final Raw before WrestleMania, even apologizes to the Usos for commenting about their family. Remember all that? So you have Seth Rollins putting over Roman Reigns huge about where he's at and he's worked and he's... But then he says there's only one thing you're not better at than me, and that's professional wrestling. So basically, Seth Rollins taking a little bit of the CM Punk feud with Roman, a little bit of the Cody Rhodes feud. You could even sprinkle in a little bit of Gunther. You know, I'm better than you in professional wrestling. You could call me an asshole all you want, but one thing you can't call me is a liar. Seth Rollins says you don't stand a chance at SummerSlam. So Roman says, you don't get it. Then Roman says the same shit that I am pretty sure, didn't Seth Rollins cut this promo a few years ago? My friends, who was the wrestler a couple of years ago, maybe a year or two ago, that said that he needed to win for the future of this industry? Wasn't it Seth Rollins? Who was the wrestler about a year or two ago that kept saying that the future of this industry is at stake? You guys remember that. They did it again today. This time it's Roman saying that shit. Roman says that he is the only true champion. The industry needs me to beat you. Holy shit. How many times have we heard this damn line the last couple of years? The future of this industry, the industry needs me to win. That's, after all of this, that's what we got. And yes, a few people are saying it was Seth. So now Roman's saying this shit. So now Roman says, you know, I must beat you. The industry needs me to beat you. Seth Rollins brings up history, cashing in the briefcase, making Roman Reigns' family cry, and he hopes Roman's family is there on Sunday because he's going to make them cry again. He's going to make Roman Reigns' kids realize that their daddy is a fake, he's a fraud, and their daddy will always be Seth Rollins' bitch. There you go with the bitch word again. That's it. That's it. You made Roman snap, so they start brawling. And Seth is laid out. And Seth's a little smart because he's on the middle rope and his back is facing Roman. Roman goes for the championship belt. He was going to hit Seth with the title, but then tosses it aside. Instead, he wants to get a steel chair. You know, Shield, Seth, using a chair, ruining Shield. Roman's going to do that tonight. So in storyline, it was smart because Seth Rollins is draped over the apron and he's looking at the Titantron. So you would think Roman Reigns would be a little bit smarter and be like, this motherfucker's looking at the Titantron. Maybe I shouldn't just creep up behind him. So Roman gets the chair and he slides in the ring underneath the rope. And when he slides underneath the rope, gee, look at that. My head is within 6 inches of the chair on the floor. I'm on my knees. Seth Rollins turns around and curb stomps him and leaves him unconscious. And that's how we go off the air. Done. That was Raw. To me, I don't know what the ticket prices were, but I got 3 matches tonight. I got, future TNA Tag Team Champions Alpha Academy losing to the Vision. Raquel Rodriguez winning the title was cool. Oh, we did have one on the match. Thank God I remembered. Ethan Page defeating Rey Mysterio. That's another reason why I'm a little concerned for Rusev. I thought that match was great. That was the only match tonight that got This Is Awesome chance. Rey Mysterio and Ethan Page were great together. Lot of fun. Ethan Page, it's funny because if you listen to Michael Cole, he puts over Ethan Page, not just tonight, puts him over a lot. And I don't know if that's guilty feelings, because if you know a little bit of history with Ethan Page, how WWE was never going to sign him, I don't know if Michael Cole was ever in those meetings also, but, Ethan Page was one. Listen, Ethan Page has come a long way. You remember back in the day, he was a little chubby monkey. And not only that, when he was in AEW, you guys remember, I don't remember the name of the clothing store. I have the name in my office, but remember when he used to shop some of his clothes on AEW television? We would post links on X and show you that his shirt that was supposed to be designer was being sold for $10. Ethan Page was trying to dress like $1,000 on AEW TV, and if you look closely, it was like tissue paper, like colored tissue paper. He was wearing, like, his outfits were like $30 from head to toe. He was wearing cheap shit. And and I think one time I ordered from them because I was like, maybe this stuff is good. I swear to God, I bought a shirt and I bought a double XL also. I wear XL, but I bought a double XL because somebody in a review said they run a little small. I swear on God, I look like Lou Ferrigno from The Incredible Hulk. I put the shirt on and it was a little tight. And when I went like this, it was like the reverse of The Incredible Hulk. Like usually like you tear, like it's raw. I literally went like this to like close in, and the fucking over here and over here just ripped right up. I think Shine, Shein. Anyone out there remember the store? Shine, is that the name of it? I think it's Schein. Maybe somebody could check the name because that's the store. I swear to God, if you look at old Ethan Page AEW, take a screenshot and just do an image search, you'll see he shopped at that place. He would buy outfits for like $10. I kid you not. I think it's Shine. Someone will probably check it for me. But that match was tremendous. And I liked what Ethan Page did. Ray went for the 619. Oh, it is Sheen, Shein. So I was close. That's the store. If you guys want, go seriously tonight, go on that website, look, but don't be tempted. You might see like beautiful models and you'll be like, oh my God, that looks amazing. And it's like $8. Don't buy it. Don't buy it. I'm telling you. Unless you're prepared to put it like on a mannequin for like Halloween or something, do not wear that. Because number one, it'll see right through. I'm telling you, if you're a hairy motherfucker and you buy pants, like light-colored pants, they'll see your pubic hair right. The fabric is so thin, you could read my notes through the material. Very, very bad shit. So, but what Ethan Page did was Ray went for the 619, and Ethan Page lifted up the ring apron. And I'm sure it's been done before, but I don't recall that often. And I'm like, wow, that's ingenious. And it blocked Ray, and it kind of like rattled Ray a little bit. And then Ethan Page hits his finisher and beats Rey Mysterio. And remember, they were in California. So Ray, when it comes to like Texas and Cali, like Ray is God. Well, he's close to God. You go to Mexico, forget it. He's the Pope. He's everything. He gave a nice rub to Ethan Page today. It was a good win. It was a very good win. So, all right. So now, what do we have left? We got SummerSlam. Got predictions, preview, betting odds. We have, we're going to mention the Nikki Bella stuff and AEW Redemption results and a couple of tidbits from Tony Khan on the conference call, the media scrum. So we have Redemption results, a couple of comments from Tony Khan in the media scrum that I found interesting, SummerSlam predictions, and betting odds. Then we're out of here. So, no super shout outs yet, so we could get right into it. So, this is your lineup, obviously. We got night 1 and night 2. So I will put the matches on the screen. 6 for each night. And we don't have betting odds for everything because the 5-way women's match has not been, the final spot has not been determined yet. There's like 1 or 2 other matches that they have not determined the odds, but it's definitely interesting. And I'll tell you why the odds are important. Because 9 times out of 10, the odds are right. And sometimes it picks people to win that for the most part, none of us think is going to happen. And it happens. I mean, it's happened before. And especially when we get to one match, you ask yourself, why? Why is this so heavily favored for one person? It doesn't make sense. But let's get into results. Predictions, I should say. Hopefully my predictions are the results. But all right, so we go to night one first. And actually, before we even do that, let's remind everyone what we had for SummerSlam last year. Last year, you had 7 matches on night one, 6 matches on night 2. Very quickly, just to give you an idea how much has changed and how much is still the same. Night 1, Roman Reigns and Jey Uso defeated Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. For the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships, Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair won the belts by defeating the champs Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez. Sami Zayn beat Karrion Kross. And because Sami Zayn won, Karrion Kross had to admit that Sami Zayn was wrong. Tiffany Stratton retained the Women's Championship over Jade Cargill. Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul defeated Randy Orton and Jelly Roll. CM Punk over Gunther to win the World Heavyweight Championship. And then Seth Rollins, I'm not really injured after all, drops the crutch, cashes in the briefcase, defeats CM Punk to become the new World Heavyweight Champion. Night 2, Naomi retained the Women's World Championship, defeating Io Sky and Rhea Ripley. In a 6-pack tag team tables, ladders, and chairs match for the tag team titles, Dexter Lumis and Joe Gacy retained the championships, defeating the team of Andrade and Rey Fenix, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, Axiom and Nathan Frazier, the Motor City Machine Guns, and the Street Profits. Becky Lynch retained the Women's Intercontinental Championship in a no disqualification, no count-out, last chance match. And remember, since Becky won, Lyra could no longer challenge for that title as long as Becky is the champion. Solo Sikoa retained the United States title in a steel cage by defeating Jacob Fatu. Dominic Mysterio retained the Intercontinental Championship, defeating AJ Styles. And the main event, Cody Rhodes won the undisputed WWE Championship, defeating John Cena in a street fight that went 38 minutes. Big card. So now we go to 2026. I'll give you my predictions for both nights, and I'll tell you which night I think is the solid card of the two. To me, I think one outdoes the other by a lot. So, night 1, we have the Bella Twins, the return of Nikki Bella and Brie Bella, teaming up with Paige to take on Fatal Influence, JC Jane, Fallon Henley, and Lainey Reed. Now, I will tell you right now the news that broke this weekend. Nikki Bella, on her podcast, said that she is seriously contemplating retirement at the end of 2027. That she thinks that next year will be her final year. She is very content that she was able to return. Let's be honest. She had some okay matches before she got injured. Didn't stink up the joint, but she is legitimately pushing for retirement, legit retirement at the end of 2027. I found that so cute. Not because, yay, after 2027, no more Nikki Bella in the ring. No, I don't mean it like that. She is one smart cookie. By telling everyone the end of 2027, it's kind of like, I know I'm being a little bit outdated here, but it's kind of like when we knew that Mariano Rivera in New York and Derek Jeter, number 2, was that was their final year. So everywhere they went, the fans would just give them a little bit extra love because they know this is the last opportunity to see that person live in person. She is one smart cookie. by telling everyone the end of 2027, wherever she performs, everybody's going to be like, thank you, Nikki. She's going to create her own retirement tour. She's going to blog. We're going to see her drinking wine in the back. Bree, everybody loves me. Bree, this is the last time I'm going to be in Palo Alto. Bree, I don't know. I kind of feel like maybe I made the wrong decision. That's what you're going to get for a whole fucking year. Expect it. She's very smart because she's telling everyone, hey, December 31st, 2027. So I'm going to have my own retirement tour. That's if WWE puts her in matches. So anyway, listen, to me, this is, you ever hear the phrase, wait, you win the war. What's that phrase? Someone in the chat room bailed me out. I just drank and I got a little off topic here. You win the battle, but you didn't win the war, or something like that. You won something, but you didn't win the big one. This is kind of the reverse. The Bellas are back as a tag team. And obviously the Bellas were supposed to be the team to win the tag titles at WrestleMania, but Nikki got injured. You win the battle, but lose the war. Yes. Thank you very much, Rams fan. You win the battle, lose the war. That's what we're getting Saturday. The Bellas and Paige will win the battle, but they lost the war because they don't have gold anymore. Fatal Influence will lose, but they won't lose because they still have the tag titles. This will be Nikki Bella's return to the ring. Going forward, the Bellas will remain as a tag team. Paige will obviously still do 6 women tags. She will have the occasional singles match. And we see where it goes from here. But Nikki Bella making her return, definitely the way to go. I'm going with the Bellas and Paige to win this match because they get nothing after it. This is a nice return. Nikki Bella, I don't have any complaints with, honestly. Even though, it's 507 days before we don't have to talk about her anymore. No, I'm just throwing a random number out there. I don't know how many days it is. But look, the Bellas making a return. Paige also with them. It'll be a nice little win. But in the end, they won the battle Saturday, but they lost the war because they're not the tag champs anymore. So I'm going with the Bellas and Paige to win. Oh, and by the way, as far as odds go, we don't know the odds. They have not released the odds as of yet. So for people that don't like odds, would be like, good. We don't need no betting odds. Who's next on the okay, the other 6, the other white meat, as they would say. The 6-man tag, the Usos and Jacob Fatu versus Solo Sikoa, LA Knight, Royce Keys. Boy, is this such a confusing match. I mean, the fans are going to be cheering for almost everyone. I'm going to be really intrigued to see how they react to Solo Sikoa and how they react to Royce Keys. Jacob Fatu, he's over like a motherfucker. Jey Uso, forget it. Jimmy, I think fans still are into him, but it's kind of like, just pretend you're on the Titanic and the Titanic is sinking and everybody's in the water and there's a boat and there's 5 seats left. And you got Jacob Fatu and the Usos, Royce Keys, LA Knight, and Solo Sikoa in the water. And there's only 5 seats. And it only holds 800 pounds. So you realize somebody, unfortunately, is going to sink to the bottom. I think pretty much everybody, if it was up to us, if we somehow were able to vote who doesn't get on the boat, I think many people would probably be like, sorry, Jim. Big Jim, go look for a big boat. Sorry, Big Jim. I think people would probably choose Jim last. We like Jim, but if we had to choose, all right, I know I'm being extra harsh here. I'm just trying to be funny. But you ever see they do on X, they'll show you 5 pictures of 5 people. If one person never had a career, who would you choose? I think people would think for a minute. But it's not fair to some of the others. Yeah, the boat probably would sink. A lot of hefties on those boats. But look, I think the Usos and Jacob Fatu will get the win here. I don't know why, but I almost feel like Solo Sikoa is going to screw somebody over. He's not a baby face. He dressed interesting. I don't know how to explain his attire. It's like, it feels like a 70s pimp. Like when I first started driving in the middle 80s, like we would trick up our cars a little bit. Like I get fuzzy dice. I would get like the red heart thing that the Italians all would have. Like I put seat covers, like leopard seat covers in my car, and you would get on the license plate, you get the light that we were allowed to use at the time where the light would go around the license plate, and you would literally just cruise. You blast your music, you do the linguini lean, and you trick your car up, but meanwhile your car's only worth $1,000. You put a LeBron on the front. I mean, my God, I don't think I have the picture here. Do I have the picture here? I don't think I do have the picture here. But I do have a picture of yours truly with my car with the LeBron. Actually, I could probably show you. Let me see if I can pull it up super, super, super quick. If I can't, my apologies, but I think I do have it. Do I have my personal pictures here? This is worth it. Okay, DT personal, please. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. This is me from the 1980s, and this is legitimately my car. It was a two-tone Buick Regal. That's me wearing the wife beater shirt and wearing the jeans that were a little bit too tight, made my balls look big. But you see, like I put the LeBron in the front, I had the license plate light that went around it, and the car was only worth maybe like $1,500. The thermostat didn't work. The car was a piece of shit. But I tried to make it look really, really nice looking, and that's what you would do at the time. It's kind of like what Solo Sikoa looks like. Solo Sikoa thinks he's dressed like a fancy, expensive pimp, and those clothes were probably like $40. He probably has like an Amazon Essentials t-shirt on, red, some Salvation Army jacket. You go to Just for Men and you just, you don't have enough money for the complete dye, so you just do the sides of the head. You literally, like, you watch closely what he wears. Like, he doesn't look rich. There's a phrase that people used to say back in the day, something rich, and I'm not going to say the first letter of the word because it'll get me in trouble, but a lot of people know what I'm talking about. That's kind of what Solo Sikoa looks like. I have a feeling he's going to turn. He looks like a used car salesman, like a snake. He's a snake. I don't trust him. He's going to turn. He's going to cause his team to lose. Please do not write in the chat room that phrase. You might get yourself auto-banned. So I'm going with the Usos and Jacob Fatu. I think the bloodline Solo Sikoa is not necessarily bloodline, but I think the bloodline will have an impressive outing for SummerSlam weekend. So, all right. By the way, as far as the betting odds, we do have betting odds for that match. The Usos and Jacob Fatu have a 75% chance of winning. They're at minus 300. The other team is at plus 200. So they have a 75% chance of victory. Next on the agenda, we have, drum roll please. There we go. Gunther taking on what I think is Nick Aldis. That is not Nick Aldis in the photo, but it is Nick Aldis. Nick Aldis has resigned as general manager, and that concerns me. I am starting to wonder if Nick Aldis is going to be leaving WWE. I get some weird feeling because I just think to myself, that guy could still wrestle. That guy's not old. The guy could still go, but he's not your quintessential WWE superstar. Like, he's developed enough of a personality that I think the fans would get behind him, but he's too much of a technical wrestler that I just feel it's not going to be a good mesh with WWE. And with Gunther, with all his retirement stuff, I know they have moved away from that, but I just get this weird feeling about Gunther and Nick Aldis, man. I'm not saying that he's leaving now, but I just wonder, a year from now, is Nick Aldis going to be in WWE? he stepped down as GM. Why? I mean, in storyline, I don't think that was necessary, but they did. And right now, Gunther has a 94% chance of winning, minus 1,500. Nick Aldis is at plus 600. And I agree with those odds. I think Gunther is going to beat him. I think it's going to be a tremendous match. I think for the small niche out there that loves old school wrestling, this is going to be a clinic. I think this is going to be a tremendous match. I think some people are going to get blown away if they've never saw Magnus or Aldis when he was in NWA. That guy could work. If you guys remember when I used to cover NWA before it hit COVID and turned to shit, I said Nick Aldis always reminded me of Nick Bockwinkel. His presentation, his presence, his aura, his intelligence, his mic skills. Nick Aldis reminded me so much of Nick Bockwinkel, and that's a compliment. I'm going with Gunther to win this, but this is going to be a much better match than people think. I don't believe this is going to be one-sided. I don't believe this is going to be a quick match either. I think this match has the possibility of going 15 minutes. I would even say longer, but Nick Aldis has not had many matches recently. I'm sure he keeps himself in great cardio, but, you go with Gunther on SummerSlam out of nowhere, that is demanding a lot. So I'm going with Gunther to defeat Nick Aldis. And I don't even think there's any chance of Nick Aldis winning. All right, so that leaves us with two matches. That leaves us with, talk to me. There we go. Liv Morgan defending the Women's World Championship against Io Sky. And these odds are very interesting because right now Io Sky is the favorite to win with 63% odds. She is at minus 170. Liv Morgan's at plus 250. I don't know why, but I kind of feel that Raquel Rodriguez winning this championship tonight might be the catalyst of the Judgment Day disbanding. And what I mean by that is, if Liv Morgan loses this championship, would she try to go after Raquel Rodriguez's title? You know what I mean? Like, I could see it two different ways. I could see them both comparing belts. But then what do you do about Roxanne Perez? Roxanne Perez, just in storyline purposes, can't be the odd woman out with no gold. And if she fights a member of Judgment Day, she's not going to fight Raquel Rodriguez. If anything is going to swerve, it would be Liv Morgan. And why would Roxy turn on Liv? If anything, it should be the opposite. So I will tell you, going into tonight's Raw, I was going with Liv Morgan to retain this title completely. I was going for Liv Morgan to retain the title. Yeah, the guy talking about AI, yeah, WWE is using a shitload of AI in their banners. It sucks, but these are their banners. So I'm showing what they posted. I was going with Liv Morgan all the way to win this. But now I'm starting to think she loses that title. She keeps looking at Raquel's championship. Raquel never went after Liv's belt. But I wonder if Liv would go after Raquel's belt. And I could see them both teasing, comparing titles. But again, Roxanne Perez is the factor that makes me think, that wouldn't be good optics-wise. Now we're having a whole AI discussion. Benjamin, the reason why I use AI to assist me with graphics, because I can't spend 6 hours to make one. All right. If I need something perfectly centered, I'm not going to sit there and Photoshop and download PNG files and reshape it and reposition and try to make it look absolutely perfect. I'm going to tell a computer in 2 sentences, please recenter this for me. All right? Why is that so different? It's the same thing with anything else, please. You know, do you want me to fucking spend a half a day doing graphics and cut back on the shows a little bit? No. So, anyway. $1 billion company, $1 trillion company, $1 billion, whatever it is, should not have to be that cheap about it. Somebody who struggles, like yours truly and others who make next to nothing, doing shows many times, yeah, you kind of need a little bit of assistance. Nobody out there wants to do things for free. There's a lot of people out there that want to help me, and then they're like, yeah, PayPal me $200. So that's why I have to do it. But I don't do it often. So, anyway, getting back to this, because we're starting to get a little bit late here. I was going with Liv Morgan all the way. Now with Raquel winning this belt tonight, I'm going with Io Sky. And the reason why I say that is because where do you go from here with Io Sky? She has been homeless without Rhea Ripley. You know, Becky Lynch had a couple of funny one-liners. Oh, you know, Io Giannetti, you know, you're nothing without Rhea. And Rhea going to SmackDown hurt Io Sky big. Asuka going home hurt Io big. Kairi Sane being released hurt Io big. If Io loses this, where do you go from here? She's not going to feud with Raquel Rodriguez. She's been feuding with the Judgment Day for far too long already. So I kind of feel this would be a nice grab for Io Sky. And then you have plenty of people who could feud with her for this championship. If you really want, you could revisit Becky Lynch. You could have Stephanie Vaquer in certain ways. I think Stephanie Vaquer and Raquel Rodriguez may rekindle a feud. And I think Liv Morgan is a wild card here. Because I think Liv Morgan is going to be extremely jealous that she don't have gold and Raquel does. So I'm going with Io Sky to win that title. I'm very reluctant, but after Raquel winning tonight made me think, okay, I think this is going to be the night. I'm going with Io Sky to win. But make no mistake about it, she was not my choice 3 hours ago. Was not my choice. I mean, I thought this one was pretty much a given. Brock Lesnar taking on Femi, Hell in a Cell. Look, Femi's odds, he's at minus 2,000. You would spend $2,000 to win 100. He has a 97% chance of winning. How do you make this prediction dramatic? You can't. You can't. Femi is the future. Brock Lesnar is the past, if you really want to say it like that. Brock Lesnar is passing the torch to Femi right before our very eyes. We've had discussions about contract stuff and what happened at WrestleMania, taking the shoes off and everything. But it is very smart on WWE's part to consider Brock retired. We're the only ones that told you since WrestleMania that that's how they're handling Brock's contract. There's no more, TKO keeps Brock on the payroll and never really use him much at all, but meanwhile they let all these other people go. So they give you the perception that Brock is a retired wrestler and that if the stars align and WWE thinks he would be a good addition for a premium live event, whether it's Saudi Arabia or anywhere else, they could reach out to Brock. Hey, Brock, you interested? We'd love for you to do something with whoever. Would you be interested? Are you in shape? You want to do it? I think that's how it goes. So it was very smart on WWE's part to make him come off as retired. So whenever Brock wants to return or WWE finds something, Brock can say, I'm still retired. But I want to kick his ass anyway. Nothing wrong with that. The people out there, it leaves people wondering, but Brock will put over Femi. In the future, Paul Heyman will manage Femi. Femi has a monster career ahead of him, provided he doesn't start becoming injury prone or he becomes a fuck up. And there's no signs to tell us that he is on the wrong path in life. The guy is tremendous inside the ring, outside the ring, not someone that is troublesome, straight as an arrow, and, you know, just a company guy. Freak of nature. It's got Goldberg vibes. You look at the chant, the way he's brought out there. You have to be very careful how you use him. But I had no problem when Brock beat him the second one, because we knew all along they were going 3. As soon as Brock attacked Oba and answered his open challenge, you knew this was going 3. That was the storyline. I mean, I get it. People wanted to, you know, milk it, you know, and complain and this and that, but the storyline made total sense. You know, I don't want to keep rehashing it. We'll move on, but the storyline is simple. Brock Lesnar had an open challenge for WrestleMania. That open challenge was announced 6 weeks before WrestleMania, 7 weeks. And we thought Brock was going to have random people confront him for a couple of weeks, and then someone finally answered the challenge, whether it's Oba or somebody else. And then that would be a couple of weeks before WrestleMania, contract signing, pull apart, and done. The next week, with 6 weeks left, Oba shows up and drops Brock Lesnar. And the match is on. With 6 weeks left, Brock's open challenge lasted 1 week. So what happened? The following month, Oba Femi, never forget it, cut a promo in the ring, talking, without mentioning Penta's name, that Penta had an open challenge for his Intercontinental Championship. Otis came out to accept it. Other people came out to accept it. And then Penta suddenly stopped. And why did Penta suddenly stop? Because WWE Creative realized that the fans were going to start voicing online, we want to see Oba Femi versus Penta. So Oba cuts a promo in the ring and says that someone stopped their open challenge. So Oba couldn't answer it. So Oba said, I'm going to make my own open challenge. So what happens 1 week later? Exactly what happened to Brock happened to Oba. Brock shows up, beats Oba Femi down. I'll see you in Italy, bitch. And he did the exact same thing. And as soon as we saw that, we knew it was going to 3. And that's what happened. Brock beat Oba in Italy, and now we're at 3. Brock will have, I hope this Hell in a Cell is tremendous. Thank God it's not going to be a fucking pre-show on ESPN, and please God, don't let it be the fucking opening match. We don't need to see a Hell in a Cell as the opening curtain jerker. You got 2 6-person tag matches this night. We don't need Brock to fucking, that sucks. I mean, no. No. So Oba's going to win. And it's not even going to be close. So that leaves us with one match, and it's CM Punk defending the undisputed WWE Championship against Cody Rhodes. I think these odds are pretty interesting. There's quite a few people going with Cody Rhodes in this one. CM Punk has an 85% chance of winning. And we talked yesterday about Damian Priest's cute comments on SmackDown. You know, everyone around here is tired of the same people in that spot. I personally think CM Punk is going to retain. Cody Rhodes, you know, losing the belt, getting it back, just to me, it's like hot potato. No, I'm not saying CM Punk needs to have a long extended run, but I'm trying to think one step ahead. If Sami Zayn becomes number 1 contender, he gets his rematch against CM Punk. If Finn Balor gets his victory and becomes a number 1 contender, Finn Balor and CM Punk tore it up last year, in case people forgot. That would be a nice, great rematch to have. I'm not interested in seeing Cody Rhodes versus Sami Zayn again. And I'm not interested in seeing Finn Balor versus Cody Rhodes. It's a little intriguing, but nah. I think CM Punk is going to retain this title. to do all of that, to have Sami Zayn win in Saudi Arabia. Again, we should have saw that a mile away that Sami was going to win in Saudi, because we talked about it a year or two ago. That, we thought it would be under different circumstances, maybe a WrestleMania. But to win it in Saudi and have that magical moment and lose it 10 days later, it's like, all right, you gave Saudi Arabia a moment because the Crown Prince and everything's got to be exaggerated, the greatest Royal Rumble, the biggest this, the most amazing this, the epic this. Let's give Sami Zayn this unexpected championship victory. And then 10 days later, it's like, fuck that. Yeah, we just did that for Saudi to make it seem exaggerated. And after all of this, we're going back to Cody. It's going to feel like a step backwards. I don't care if Cody turns heel, Cody turns babyface, Cody becomes bisexual. I don't care what Cody becomes or is. I don't think anybody wants to see Cody Rhodes back as the champion this quickly. I'm going with CM Punk to retain. I think CM Punk would be more of a fighting champion. I think CM Punk would face Royce Keys. I think CM Punk would face some people. And I'm not saying that it's his decision, but storyline-wise, it makes more sense. I'm going with CM Punk to retain. So that is your night one. So now we go to night two. And the first match right off the bat is Trick Williams defending the United States Championship against Baron Corbin. Right now, we do not have any betting odds for Baron Corbin versus Trick Williams. No, we do not. I just double-checked it. To me, this is awful. We've talked about it before WrestleMania. Carmelo Hayes getting the shit end of the stick. You just smooth Baron Corbin right in there. A lot of people were fine to see Carmelo Hayes versus Trick or even a three-way. But no, you can't do that. Melo, I know we told you at WrestleMania you're not good enough, so we're going to give it to Sami Zayn so he could lose the Trick. But, we'll make it up for you in the future. Hey, boss, what about SummerSlam? Maybe on Tuesday night's main event. Boss, there is no Tuesday night's main event. Well, if there becomes one, you'll be the first one on the show. I have no interest in seeing Baron Corbin taking on Trick Williams. And who the fuck wants to see Baron Corbin win the championship this fast? Forget about history. Forget about my disdain for him in the past. I thought his return was good. I thought a lot of what he's done so far in a short amount of time is good. But I have no interest in seeing Baron Corbin become champion. There's no reason to take it off of Trick Williams right now. There is no reason whatsoever. So I'm going with Trick Williams to retain. If Baron Corbin wins, what do you do next? What do you do next? Think about that. I mean, who does he feud with? Even if you do rematches, it's like, nobody wants to see that. So I want Trick Williams to retain. I'd like to see this progress into something else and give Carmelo Hayes a little bit more. I mean, give Ilya Dragunov a little bit more. There's so many fucking people that they're just totally misusing. It's horrendous. So I'm going with Trick Williams to retain. And I think a lot of people will get to agree with me on that too. So don't forget our Patreon family and our channel members on YouTube. We will be doing a predictions contest. The thread will be put up Thursday late, and you'll have until Friday night at midnight to enter. Maybe Saturday morning early. I'm not sure yet. And, we'll go from there. So, all right. So now we have a 5-way ladder match to determine the interim women's champion, WWE Women's Champion. Right now, 4 of the 5 spots have been filled. We have Penta. Wait, the hell? I see what happened here. Okay, we got Charlotte Flair versus Chelsea Green versus Jade Cargill versus Tiffany Stratton. The final spot will either be Julia or Last Legend. I'm very concerned about Julia's future. I am blown away at how awful WWE has used her. I remember when her and Stephanie Vaquer first showed up at NXT, and it was like this. And in a very short amount of time, Stephanie Vaquer got higher, but Julia was still there. And now it's like, it's that bad. I mean, I'm shocked. And I look at this ladder match and I say to myself, they don't need Julia as a sacrificial lamb. I think Last Legend would be the better person to put in this match because I think people would like to see Last Legend and Charlotte Flair go at it a little bit. I think they'd like to see Last Legend and Jade Cargill go at it a little bit. I think Last Legend might be one of the underdogs to win this match. I don't think Julia advances. I think Last Legend gets that final spot. Now the question is, who becomes the interim champion? Now you got to think one step ahead here. Whoever becomes interim champion, then is going to face Rhea Ripley down the line. Winner takes all. Unification. Interim champion versus Rhea Ripley. So I asked myself, okay, Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley. We've done that. Match of the year. Match of WrestleMania not too long ago. I think a lot of people agree. Not a bad one. Chelsea Green versus Rhea Ripley. That emoji. Not bad. Not too bad. Rhea Ripley versus Jade Cargill. They've had some good matches up until the injury. Tiffany Stratton versus Rhea Ripley. Nah. And then you got Last Legend versus Rhea Ripley. So when we look at those possibilities, Last Legend, even Julia, if you want to put Julia in it, Last Legend, Julia, Charlotte Flair, Chelsea Green, or Jade Cargill, Tiffany Stratton, who would be the one that you think WWE would book against Rhea Ripley for a future premium live event? Whatever it is. I don't think it'll be as late as Survivor Series, but who do you choose? I don't think Tiffany Stratton is even a possibility. Last Legend would be interesting, but I don't think she's at that point yet that should be feuding with Rhea Ripley one-on-one, especially since they don't have much history together. So I'm canceling out Tiffany Stratton, Julia, and Last Legend. That leaves Chelsea Green, Jade Cargill, and Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair, if SummerSlam was in Saudi Arabia, I would probably go with Charlotte Flair. If Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley were to fight in Saudi Arabia, then I would choose Charlotte Flair too. I think a lot of people are really rooting for Chelsea Green. I just don't know if she should be interim champion. Because whoever it is ultimately is going to lose it to Rhea Ripley. Because if Rhea Ripley was just going to end up losing the championship down the line anyway, you might as well have just stripped her. Because then she lost the title without ever being pinned. That looks a lot better than her returning from injury just to lose it anyway. So I think it comes down to Charlotte Flair or Jade Cargill. If you're going to break away Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, you have Charlotte Flair win. You put Charlotte as the interim champion, and that kind of separates them a little bit more. But I also don't ever see Charlotte Flair as an interim champion. I think she would always want to be looked at as the champion. It'd be pretty fucking awesome if they did a little take on her father, and she called herself the real world champion. But you can't do that because it's the SmackDown title. The Women's World Championship is on Raw. So you can't do that. So I'm going to go with Jade Cargill. I'm going to go with Jade Cargill to get the win because I think Jade Cargill versus Rhea Ripley down the line would be an interesting match. They've worked great together already, and title versus title I think is a good one. So that's what I'm going with. I'm going with Jade Cargill to win that match. Very curious to see what your predictions are this week. Now we have Danhausen versus Dominic Mysterio. 10,000 human monies on a poll. Dominic Mysterio is about to start feuding big with El Grande Americano. He is going to be dedicated to AAA quite a bit. This is going to lead to El Grande Americano winning that championship at Triple Mania. All right. He is going to be back and forth But I also feel that, especially when you're talking about children and role models and Danhausen doing his stuff, I don't think it's a very good message to have Danhausen stealing $10,000 from anybody and then winning it on a poll, and he keeps $10,000 that he stole. I think in the end, Danhausen is not someone that has to win matches. Danhausen is just beloved. He's obviously the mascot of the WWE. I think you have to put this money back in the hands of the Judgment Day. The storyline has gone on way too fucking long. You don't want this perception forever that Danhausen, you remember the time that Danhausen stole 10,000 human monies from the Judgment Day and he ended up winning it on a poll and he never had to. It's just like, I hate the storyline. It was funny early on, and after a while, it just got kind of dumb. I'm going with Dominic Mysterio to get that money back. I expect a shitload of interference. Let me say this, if Danhausen wins, somebody, some athlete, some performer, some motherfucker from Houston or a New York Knick, and I personally think it'll be somebody from Houston, will help Danhausen. Somebody will show up, celebrity, hopefully it's not Jelly Donut, the divorcee. Somebody shows up and help, maybe El Grande Americano. Maybe he can help Danhausen. The only way Danhausen wins is if somebody shows up that we're not expecting, making a surprise appearance, and helps him win. That's the only way. Otherwise, you have to have Dominic get that money back. And trust me, the way they've been using Danhausen, especially he's driving around with an ESPN refrigerated truck, giving ice cream away. You know, obviously ESPN is tying him with Danhausen a little bit, so you kind of feel like some athlete could show up and help him win. And in the world of ESPN, it could be anybody. It could be a football player, a basketball player, a baseball player, a UFC guy, a boxer. Could be fucking somebody on Netflix. Could be fucking anybody. Could be a politician, for all we know. So that's the only way Danhausen wins. Continuing on, that leaves us 3 matches. We have Penta. Oh, by the way, Dominic Mysterio right now has a 67% chance of winning. I think those odds are very high. Especially now since you got monies on a poll. So that wasn't announced early. So those odds I wouldn't buy into at all. Penta defending the Intercontinental Championship against Dominic Mysterio. Right now, Chad Gable is a 94% chance of winning. Does that sound right to you? I get it. He returned. I get it. It's inspirational. I get he's from Minnesota. I get his family and friends are there. And I kind of think he will win. But 94%, Penta has no shot at all. That kind of seems weird, odd. If you want to bet money, this might be the match just to throw a couple of dollars on. You're probably going to lose if you choose Penta. But I'd throw $10 on that. Throw $10 on that. You win. Just think of how, you fucking get 15 times your money back. For a $10 shot, I would. Don't expect to win, but you never know, man. You never know. When I saw that, I said, that can't be. Chad Gable has not been on this roll. This clap thing, I mean, it's interactive with the fans in attendance, but to me, it feels fake. I just picture Chad. I just got over my rotator cuff. Maybe the doctor said, hey, Chad, you just tore your rotator cuff. You just tore your elbow. You just tore your tricep. You just tore your tricep. You just tore your forearm. You just tore your shoulder. You just tore this. You just tore everything. So I think it would be great rehabilitation if you take your hands and you just put them over your head and you just clap every time you can. You wake up in the morning, you Go in the shower. If you have enough room, you clap. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's part of his rehab. I don't like it. It's like and his entrance music is like a 90s WCW theme. I'm a huge Chad Gable fan. And Chad Gable had some amazing momentum when he was feuding with Gunther. But he wins the title now, and then what? And then what? Who does he feud with? Seriously, Rusev, Ethan Page. Like, who does he feud with? Where's the momentum? I'm sorry, I'm just not feeling it. The Judgment Day. So I think because they pushed the family, because they pushed the friends, because they pushed the hometown, WWE's already had his family members crying. When he lost to Gunther, even though we knew he was losing to Gunther, but they already had his family members crying. Doing it twice, that's kind of cruel. It's kind of cruel. I know somebody at WWE Creative will be like, oh, too bad. Have a Snickers. You'll feel better. I'm going with Chad Gable to win. Although I'm just not feeling it. I'm just not feeling it. And it'll be, listen, Raquel just won her first singles title since being on the main roster, 2022. 2022? That sounds about right. Look at Chad Gable. I know we're not supposed to talk about the speed title. Look at Chad Gable. You say to yourself, why did it take this long for him to get one singles title? So get it out of your system. Get it out of your system. Have Chad Gable win. And I kind of agree that probably would be part of WWE Unreal Season 4. Some of Chad Gable's recovery, the coverage of El Grande Americano in AAA, and then him going to Minnesota, winning the title in front of his family. I'll say a couple of quick things momentarily about Unreal. I mentioned it on Wednesday. I'll just repeat a little bit later. I'm going to go with Chad Gable to win, even though I just feel the timing is off. I get it, it's Minnesota, but still, it feels flat, and I don't know how good this run is going to be once he wins it. So I don't think he'll be a champion for very long. I'm not saying it'll be a Sami Zayn reign, but I don't know how long he'll keep that belt. So that leaves us Sami Zayn taking on Finn Balor, number one contenders match for the championship. Sami Zayn's been screwed. I think WWE's done that because the more we feel he's screwed, the more we gravitate towards him. Some people think he's more over now than he was a month ago because they screwed him. Sami Zayn could get a title shot simply by cutting a promo on CM Punk. Like, what are you afraid? You're like, just take it a Gunther storyline. You're like, in storyline, Sami could just come out there, say some bad words to CM Punk, call him afraid and everything, and CM Punk will say anytime you want. So Sami Zayn could get a championship match if WWE Creative wanted to go that way. Have to go through this number one contendership to get there is kind of much, if I say so. I feel it's an easy way to get Finn Balor a little bit of a rub right now. Finn Balor's been moved to SmackDown. Nice addition. Kind of feels okay. Now what? I don't think Finn Balor will become world champion, WWE champion anytime soon. But if you're going to do anything with Finn Balor right now, probably have him go up against CM Punk. I think that's a match people would like to see again. I think Finn Balor and CM Punk would gel a hell of a lot more than Cody Rhodes and Finn Balor. And plus, I think they like working with each other. They had a lot of good words for each other before. So I'm going with Finn Balor to win this. Gons, I'm not saying that Chad Gable is flat. I'm just saying that WWE is kind of have him all over the place since he returned. They have him doing this clap out of nowhere, which just feels that he didn't come up with it. They changed his music to some generic 90s WCW music. It just feels like there's a little momentum that's missing there. I mean, listen, you know what'll happen at SummerSlam? I'll tell you what'll happen at SummerSlam. He'll win the championship and a whole bunch of luchadores will come out and lift him up in the air. Might even have family members too in the ring. I think that's how you'll make Chad Gable's victory feel bigger. But WWE Creative has not done the greatest job with Chad Gable since he returned. That's not his fault. So, anyway, you got that one. You know, the other questions, I know you're trolling a little bit, but that's good. If you're going to troll, be a good one. That's all I ask. So, I'm cool with it. So I'm going with Finn Balor to win. Sami Zayn, there's so many ways you could go with this. I don't think you have to put Sami Zayn as a number one contender. There's a lot of different ways you could go. So I'm going with Finn Balor to defeat Sami Zayn. And then we'll see where it goes from here. I think you have to do that because I don't see Finn Balor getting an opportunity any other way anytime soon. No other tournaments going on. So that leaves us Roman Reigns defending the WWE World Heavyweight Championship against Seth Rollins. And quite honestly, right now, the odds have Roman Reigns at a 91% chance of winning. 91%. I said this a month ago, 3 weeks ago, 3-4 weeks ago, whenever they first announced this match, and I'll say it again now. My view has not changed. When Seth Rollins challenged Roman for the match at SummerSlam, the minute Seth Rollins said in his first night that you've never beaten me, and I know this is something that's been bothering you. So, soon as Seth planted that seed, it reminded me of Cody versus Seth. How many times did Cody beat Seth in a row? And then Cody cuts the promo on Seth, you've never beat me. Well, gee, what happened the next match they had? Seth won. When you had Seth plant that seed so early on, that's it. That's it. Roman gets his victory. That one, and the funny thing is, of all of the storylines that they've done over the years with Roman and Seth, they're running out of good storylines. I think it's fine. Seth saying to Roman, you've never beaten me. I know that that's bothering you. That's something that you don't want to retire knowing that you never beat Seth Rollins. That's good enough. That's a good enough reason for somebody to want to win. Once Roman gets that, you kind of like jump the shark with all the things. It's no more saving the industry. It's no more doing this. It's no more revenge for the Shield. I mean, my God, you keep bringing up what Seth did to the Shield. You know what that reminds me of? Do you remember the movie The Fan with Robert De Niro? Awesome movie. Remember the movie The Fan? Do you remember the part in the movie where Robert De Niro's playing catch with Coop? And, you know, Robert De Niro, like, he's got, like, didn't he have, like, the kid hostage or something? And Coop throws the ball the wrong way. So Robert De Niro goes to run after it, and Coop tells the kid, go, 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 go. And Robert De Niro goes to Coop. He says, I thought we were friends. I thought we were pals. I thought we were buddies. And Coop looks at us, that was grade school. And then Robert De Niro just bashed him over the head with a baseball bat. But the point is, it was so fucking long ago, and Robert De Niro still thought that, you know, hey, I thought we were buddies. I thought we were pals. I thought we were cool. I thought we were good friends. It's fucking grammar school. You know, so like, when do you let go the fact that Seth Rollins chair bashed the Shield? I mean, Roman Reigns, look at all the stuff that he's done over the years. Look at all the stuff that Seth has done over the years. You know, with the Authority and John and, you know, the J&J Security and all this other shit, the Vision. Roman Reigns hasn't been no innocent little poster, you know, what was I going to say? Choir boy? You know, altar boy? He hasn't been, you know, there's been a lot of, you know, shade with the bloodline doing his dirty work. Everybody's been a shyster over the years. We're tired of it. Watching all these vignettes is like, oh my God, we saw a lot of this 2 years ago. You know, when we had CM Punk feud with Roman Reigns going into this WrestleMania, a lot of people forgot the year before we had the same shit. The only difference was Seth Rollins was in it too. It was a three-way. You literally just did the same shit. So I'm going with Roman Reigns to win. And this will allow Roman Reigns to get that victory over Seth Rollins, gives Roman another title defense and against someone that's not part of the bloodline, and then we see where it goes from here. I don't know where Seth Rollins goes from here, and I certainly don't know where Roman Reigns goes from here. You almost feel like you're going to have to move to LA Knight or something else. LA Knight, there's got to be some clear path ahead. You can't simply keep going bloodline, because LA Knight, every promo sounds the same. So I'm going with Roman Reigns to win. He will retain that championship. I definitely expect interference. It is closing out SummerSlam. There's something big has to happen during that match. And remember, there's no special stipulations. Of course, nobody's going to get disqualified. But there'll probably be a ref bump. There'll probably be some involvement. You might have somebody do something. Who knows? Maybe Solo Sikoa ends up helping Roman. I mean, I don't think people would really be thrilled about that because Roman Reigns is still considered technically a babyface. So there's so many ways they could go with this. But I think in the end, Roman Reigns is going to retain. So, and that's SummerSlam. I don't know. What do you guys think? For me, I don't even think it's close. I think night one is the stronger of both nights. And the funny thing is, night one has 2 6-person tag matches. But Brock and Oba and Punk and Cody, Gunther and Aldis, that's 3 very solid matches right there. Liv Morgan and Io Sky, they do pretty damn good as well. So you got 3 top shelf matches, 1 that could be near the top, and 2 that are kind of like whatever. You look at night 2, and honestly, the interim championship, yeah, it's going to be a ladder match, so it'll be a big train wreck for sure. Trick Williams and Baron Corbin, I'm not interested in. Danhausen and Dominic Mysterio will be lighthearted fun at most. You know, Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, I'm just not feeling it. I'm not crapping on it, and I'm not saying it's going to be bad. I'm sure they listen, Roman and Punk put on a great fucking performance. So I'm not concerned. I think these 2 guys will put on a great performance. It's just so much overload for the past bunch of years. You know, it just feels like, you know, I just not feeling it like before. If this was 4 years ago, maybe different. So when you put that all aside, you got Finn Balor and Sami Zayn, which could arguably be a SmackDown match. You have Penta and Chad Gable, which could be a Raw match, if we're being honest. And you have the ladder match. So it's kind of like the ladder match and Roman and Seth. And I'm just not feeling Roman and Seth like that. So right now, as far as the poll goes, we have 65% of those tuning in. We have over 100 votes. 65% feel that night one is the stronger of the 2 nights. And I agree. And I, once again, will say, I think it's very disrespectful on WWE's part to wait until 5 days before SummerSlam to reveal the cards. Especially when you realize that people paid big money to go to this and they didn't even know what matches they were going to get. That's not normal. That's not good. You literally 5 days before, you had people who dumped a lot of money and you couldn't even tell them this is what you paid for. You know, just because it's all wrestling and just because it's all WWE, just imagine if somebody spent all this money on their family and they're diehard Cody Rhodes fans and they were convinced that Cody was closing out night 2. Yeah, I know what some people are going to say. Well, they should have waited because they knew that there was a chance they were going to be. I get that. But still, you would think that WWE would turn around and say, listen, you're spending this much money. You should at least know what the main event is for each night. Not 5 days, but who does that? UFC doesn't do that. Boxing doesn't do that. Nobody does that. Nobody does that. That's just wrong, in my opinion. You want to do it for a house show? You want to do it with tickets are, very, very, not next to nothing, but very low? Fine. But not a premium live event where you're demanding thousands of dollars. This on location, some of these tickets were over $15,000. Who in their right mind is going to spend that, and then you don't even know what you're paying for? So I just think that's really wrong on WWE's part. So want to give a little bit of love to Near Rofe. Thank you very much, Near. Little shout out for him. Thank you for your generosity. Somebody likes a lot of weed, and it's ice much Halloween. He says Don Tony solo collab 2.5 years since. So Solomon's, 2.5 years. That's a long time. I'll probably have Jason on again down the line. No reason why we can't. We had some great discussion. All of the Forbidden Doors we did were great discussions. I mean, definitely never say never. I mean, he's friends. He's even sort of family. So I have nothing but love for that guy. So Rams fan, thank you very much too. He said, rest in peace, Kev, miss you. Hope SummerSlam is fun. I can't remember the last time SummerSlam sucked. I mean, we know it's going to be a good time, and at least it's reasonable as far as time-wise. Like, we're not spending crazy money. Either we're going to watch it with a Netflix VPN. Some people are going to watch it with an ESPN unlimited subscription. Some people will probably watch it via bootleg online. We're not spending crazy money. All of us tuning in right now, including yours truly, is spending next to nothing to watch this. So we're going to get our money's worth. We're not the ones that are dropping that kind of coin. So I think we'll all be good with it. Will it be one of the more memorable SummerSlams? That is up for discussion. I think Brock and Oba is going to steal the show. I think Gunther and Nick Aldis is going to be a lot better than I think some people think. I don't think Nick Aldis is going to have the ring rust that people are fearing. I think this guy works out more than we know, and I guarantee you that Gunther and Nick Aldis have been working together. I guarantee they've been working out together. They will put on a clinic. And listen, Gunther obviously is turned into a sports entertainer, and Gunther is great at it. Gunther knows how to do it, but Gunther at his core is a tremendous professional wrestler. And when you put that much effort, time, and work to have that type of a craft, you want to take it out once in a while, and you want to play once in a while. And I think this is an opportunity where Gunther's like, I'll do it. I think this is what it comes down. That's why I think even Brock likes a full-blown brawl. Brock is like, yeah, man. There's some people that he's like, oh, yeah. It's just right in their alley. And I think Gunther and Nick Aldis is one of those as well. Clone Force, it's up to you, my friend. My thoughts are with you. Your great-grandmother passed away Friday at 96. That's a long life, man. I'll be happy if I live to be 76. 96 is a long time. I've had a couple of great-grandparents in Italy die close to 100 years old. I mean, hopefully it runs, the genes run, here also. Can you imagine me podcasting at 96? I'll be like drinking and dribbling all over the place. Oh boy, no. 96, long age, long life, man. Just imagine the stories. She was alive during like the latter part of the Great Depression. You think of the wars that we went through. I mean, my God, the history that she saw. I mean, I remember when I was in the 1980s and talking to relatives of mine who were like 70 and 80 years old at the time, and they lived like around 1900, and they would tell us stories that were just amazing. And that's why I like watching a lot of the old vintage footage. You know, I will say this. I do insurance since 1998. I have my license, and I'm blown away how many houses in New York that are still up, and they were built in the 1920s. There's houses that I insure that are 100 years old. And the weird thing about it is, I mean, obviously the electric has been improved over the years. Pipes are now PVC, and, you know, you upgrade your heating system and the roof gets redone. But what I'm saying is, it's amazing that the foundation and the structure and the way it was built was done 100 years ago and is still acceptable today. That's the thing that's wild to me. It's pretty crazy to think that. But by the way, I don't do coke. I for some reason I have a little bit of soreness on my nose, so I don't even think I'm doing the nose candy or anything. So we're gonna start bringing this home. I just wanted to quickly give you the results for AEW Redemption. Again, a late night for those that tuned in, but no denying you got your money's worth. For the AEW Trios Championship, the conglomeration of Orange Cassidy, Roderick Strong, and Kyle O'Reilly retained over Jay Lethal, Blake Christian, and Lee Johnson. Speedball Mike Bailey, damn you, won the six-way ladder match to become the number one contender for the International Championship. He beat Jack Perry, the Beast Mortis Commander, Nick Wayne, and El Clan. Every time I hear the name, I think of clot, like a blood clot. The Clot. The tag team match, the Young Bucks defeated the Death Riders, Jon Moxley and Will Ospreay. Now people are thinking Young Bucks versus Copeland and Cage at All In. I still think New Day should be part of that. Maybe you make it a three-way. Maybe you do a mystery team. AEW loves to do shit like that. Have a mystery team, a wild card team at All In. And I think that'll be Kofi and Xavier. What do you call them? What are they going to call them? We don't know, right? Kyle Fletcher retained the International Championship over Bandito. So we have Mike Bailey and Kyle Fletcher ahead of us. In a double chain tag team match, David Finlay and Clark Connors over the Bang Bang Gang. For the TBS title, Maya World won. I can't believe it. Defeating Sheeta. I don't get it with that. I mean, nothing against Maya World. She's awesome. The match with Mercedes Moné was great. But is it weird? Is it just me? Does it feel like we complain about Sami Zayn having these short title runs? Sheeta, like, she just comes out of nowhere. I know she's been on TV for a while, but wins the title, and it feels like a big moment. And then, like that, it's gone. It's like, I don't know. I got to look back at some of her title reigns. She might have had some of the shortest title reigns. And I'm not talking about someone who just like transition champion. I'm talking about like someone who legitimately is a worthy champion that should have a decent run with it. I don't know. That one took me by surprise, as the other championship. Christian Cage and Adam Copeland over Claudio Castagnoli and Pac to retain the tag titles. Chris Jericho over Ciampa, and this was bloody, and crowd freaking loved it. You know, we kind of figured Canada, Jericho will probably get the win over here. And that match went over 20 minutes. So Jericho could still do it. Andrade won the national championship over Mark Davis. That was one of the matches that we really thought was a guarantee. Andrade, you just felt something's different with Andrade right now. So he is now the national champion. Willow Nightingale won the women's championship, defeating Thekla. So now Willow will take on Mercedes Moné at All In, which it's got some, you know, it's funny because it's getting mixed reaction, but then people are like, but it's Willow. You know, so people are like, you know, they want to complain, but then you're complaining that Willow won, so people like, I really can't say anything. That's the way it is. And Kenny Omega obviously retained the AEW World Championship over Kevin Knight. And couple of things coming out in a media scrum with Tony Khan. You might find some of this interesting. I will tell you, I got to thank Johnny D and also give some credit to Andrew Badala. I took a little bit of the notes from everybody and I watched some clips. I saw the podcast comment and everything that people are focused on. So I just combined everybody's comments and I put it all together. So Tony Khan is going to continue having legends in some capacity for shows. And that's good. You know, always celebrate a little bit of history, make people feel that they're still wanted to an extent. I think a lot of times people are just absolutely forgotten. Talked a little bit about the metrics and the pay-per-view numbers. Again, none of this is ever made public. You know, people still don't even confront why Dave Meltzer comes up with the numbers that he does. You know, when someone calls other people fraudsters and you can't back up anything specifically, you know, it's usually, you know, the people calling other people fraudsters are usually the guiltiest parties of them all. So they talked a little bit about coming back to Montreal, but the one that everybody's talking about is a podcast network. Because obviously now you have WWE World on Sirius XM. Tony Khan says, quote, "We've been working on an AEW podcast network. We're still planning it with their friends, and it's coming." And that's been in the works for quite a while. So AEW is planning their own network of shows. And I'm not going to repeat what I said yesterday, but, you know, I don't have any issue with it. You know, Peter Rosenberg and Sam Roberts and a few others, that they are WWE through and through. You know, Mark Henry is, you know, a WWE guy and supports them. Bully Ray, you know, Bully Ray is Bully Ray. You know how that is. I mean, so that leaves the people I mentioned yesterday, and some of those people that are in the WWE podcast network now are people that are trying to better their future. I'm not going to shit on everybody who's working. Just because you're working with WWE doesn't make you evil. You know, I mean, sure, some of the shows are ridiculous. Just look at the schedule that I witnessed today. I don't want to call out anybody's names. You had 3 fucking shows in a row talking about the same shit. Talking about the same stuff. And when we brought up those 15 shows or 14 shows yesterday, you know, a lot of people don't realize that. Busted Open had 14 shows on Spotify and everywhere else in 1 week. So every time you click on a video or an audio file, even if it's 10 minutes long, that's considered a view. So when you have someone else do only 1 show a week, and then you have Busted Open putting 14 out there, of course Busted Open is going to be in the top 10 because you in order to follow everything, you see what they do. But when we were looking at it yesterday, it's like Raw recap, Raw reaction. It's like, why do we need 6 shows that are just Raw and SmackDown? Like, you don't tell the other people, all right, listen, you guys do Raw. You guys talk about SummerSlam. You guys do this. No, everybody just talks about whatever they want to talk about. So that'll fizzle out. Because remember, for Busted Open to be in the top 10 and needing 14 shows to be in the top 10, that's telling. That's telling. When you look at some other shows out there that only do 2 or 3 shows a week, look at Jason. I mean, just to use him as an example, Jason this week I think is ranked like number 20. Jason does 2-3 shows a week. And Jason is in number 20. Busted Open is in the top 10, but Busted Open needed 14 shows to get in the top 10. Jason only needed 3. Jim Cornette only needed 1. You see what I mean? So, yeah, if you put out 20 episodes a week and people are clicking on random things, of course your numbers are going to be extremely high. But that's where, Sirius XM comes in. These numbers are nowhere near what people think they are, because you need to have 24 hours of content just to get yourselves in the top 10. Other people just need a 3-hour show to do it. So, all right. So that's pretty much tonight's show. So how long did we go? We started at 10:30, about 2 hours, 45 minutes. We went a little longer than I thought we were. So any last minute thoughts? I mean, are you guys looking forward to SummerSlam? How's the vibe out there? I mean, to me, I think it'll be a manageable weekend because there's only 6 matches per night. There will be skits. There will be segments. There will be some surprises, no question. I am ecstatic that ESPN is not doing this hour one thing on their cable channel anymore for right now, because that really hurt their shit, man. I could only imagine how few people in that hour decided, yeah, let me upgrade to unlimited and let me watch the rest of the show. Just think about that for a minute. You know what that's like? I'll leave you with this, and I think a lot of you will agree with me on this. It's like going into a diner, all right? It's like going into a diner, and you got to pay for your meal, obviously. But for the first hour, they're going to give everybody hors d'oeuvres. Little hot dogs, little puffs, potato things, maybe a little bit of pizza, hors d'oeuvres, shit like that. So for an hour, you get a whole little, bar of just finger foods. And what happens after an hour? Oh, I don't think I think I'm good. I don't need to order. You give fucking fans 1/3 of the show for free. And in some cases, a little more than that, because, the Italy show only had 5 matches on it. 2 of them were on fucking ESPN. There's only 3 matches left. So just imagine after that hour, I think I got what I wanted. I don't need to. What am I going to upgrade for? For what? 3 matches? What am I going to buy fucking full dinner for? I eat. I think that's what it's like. Oh, yeah, Dream, I expect CM Punk and Danhausen to have some interaction. CM Punk must be extremely ecstatic for Danhausen. I'm blown away at the reception of Danhausen outside of WWE. Because you look at, I'm sure a lot of you know about Danhausen outside of wrestling. He's not a bad guy. Not troublesome, but you look at him, it's like normal guy. Just regular guy. And, for some reason, people just gravitate to this character. It's almost on a weird level. And you see like some of the coverage of him, it's just even strange. It's kind of like, like you have all these, think about this. You have all these superhero movies. You have these superhero movies, and you even have movies where people try to be like superheroes. And outside of the movie and publicizing the movie, they don't get much play or that much attention. This motherfucker, not trying to be a jerk, but it's like a fake superhero. It's kind of like a parody. And everybody gravitates to him. Like, he gets more attention than people who are doing legit superhero stuff. It's just weird. It's bizarre. I don't know how long this lasts. But for now, it's kind of crazy to see how this is going. But, I'll say this in closing. I know I'm bringing up something old, but I'll never forget when the Boogeyman made his debut on WWE. Kevin and I went on our show, Don, Tony, and Kevin Castle show. That same night, when he had the night crawlers in his mouth, that night we went on our show and we had a discussion. We said WWE needs to come out with gummy worms. They have to come out with gummy worms. $2 a pack, $3 a pack. Kids will snatch it up. Everybody will buy it because they'll act like, oh, look, I'm the Boogeyman. But they don't have real worms in their mouth. They have gummy worms. And we thought, you got to do that. You'll fucking make millions. And they never did it. But with Danhausen, you saw it immediately. Masks, capes, outfits, human monies, fake monies. Like, it's like a nonstop, flurry of merchandise, and people are buying it and buying it in droves. It's crazy. WWE realized it. And I have said this. A lot of people compare it to AEW. And they say, oh, AEW totally fucked up. They totally missed the boat about Danhausen. I disagree. AEW is not set up to be this commercial, mascot, mass produce, that's not what their product is. That's not their style. I don't think anybody, no matter how over they would have gotten, that AEW would have done something like this. It's just not the right fit. So no, I don't think AEW missed the boat. I think they just realized that Danhausen is not the person that is the fit for our company. Very well liked, and for a couple of quick cameo moments, but not someone as a regular to do this. Their roster is just not equipped that way. Their roster, when you hear like Ciampa and others now say, this is the most talented roster I've ever been on in my career, some people will laugh on that on the surface. And I disagree because of the amount of money and success the WWE stars have had. But I will say this, when you look at AEW's roster from top to bottom, you'll have some average talent that are in Ring of Honor. But when you look at their main roster, like if you compare it to a baseball team, it's like every player from, 1 to 9 has the potential of being an all-star. You know what I mean? So, sure, they might not be the leading vote getter, and they may not be the best at their position, but every player has the potential of being an all-star. And I think that's what AEW does pretty good. Pretty good. So, all right, everybody. I'm going to jet. Couple of trolls in the house. It's all good. It's all good. As long as people don't get really, really, in the mud and, get really like personal and stuff, it's all good. We have some fun. But at the end of the day, we're all wrestling fans and we give a shit. And I'm out of here. I got to go get myself some sleep. It's already 1:30 in the morning over here. I got to get my ass up in 5 hours, and I didn't even put my synopsis together or nothing. So I hope everybody enjoys SummerSlam. Don't forget, we have a bunch of shows still this week. Wednesday Night Dynamite. We'll get into all the news that we didn't cover today. Weekend ratings, got a few other things to discuss. Then Thursday on Patreon, we'll do our weekly live stream like we always do. Patreon.com/Don Tony. Next history episode will drop sometime Saturday. And then Sunday night, I'm not sure what we're going to do yet, because Sunday night is SummerSlam also. And some people are telling me to take the night off. So we may actually take the night off. Or I was thinking of doing a Sunday morning show. Talk about night one. So I will definitely put up a poll on YouTube and maybe on social media. Do you guys want me to do a Sunday morning show? Like maybe, let's say 12 noon. And maybe we'll go a little Breakfast with Blassie style. And we'll talk about night one of SummerSlam. Preview a little bit of night two, how we're feeling going into Sunday night. And then Monday, we could get into the other night. So we'll see. I'm kind of leaning Sunday morning, maybe Sunday noon, around there, 11 a.m., 12 noon. We'll see. We'll see. But much love, everybody. Thank you, as always, for spending your time with yours truly. Keep supporting all the other shows out there. And listen, for those that I'm friends with, for those that I'm not friends with, for those out there that are doing their own independent thing and work very hard at what they do, whatever their style is and however they do it, definitely support them, because you see what is going on with WWE. Again, nothing personal against a lot of the people there. I think the bigwig in La Greca, definitely stabbed his supporters in the back. And when you have overwhelming number of them feeling that way, you probably did step him in the back. But others out there are just trying to advance in their work. So you can't fault them for that. If AEW debuts a network, people are going to be there too. And if they work for AEW, of course, they're going to focus on AEW. Common sense. So even more of a reason to support all the shows out there that cover everything. Because without your support, either we're just talking to ourselves, and in some cases, people just can't afford to keep their stuff going. So if you like, the independent voice and to be able to discuss multiple, companies, you got to support those people. So it's, don't leave me, but support them, because they right now, especially the show. And one thing is for certain, I'm not the best one out there. Some people may not like me. Some people might think I'm not the greatest eye candy to look at either. But one thing is for certain, I've been doing this since 1997, and my word is my bond. And I will never disrespect anybody that takes even a minute to tune in to what I do. If anything were to ever change, if an opportunity ever came up or something was presented to me, I tell you straight out. And, I always keep it transparent. So, whether you like me or you don't like me, one thing is for certain, that I always keep it 100. I've been keeping it 100 since 1997. I don't need to yell. I don't need to read a teleprompter, Dave. I don't need to fucking edit my no, to make it perfect. Yeah, that's the one. Fuck that. I do no edits here. I don't pause. I don't take out gaps. What you see is what you get. Don't like it? Fuck you. Nah. I'm out of here, everybody. Much love, and we'll catch you on the next one. Be well.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a podcaster. For me to live any other way was nuts. To me, those goody-good people who worked shitty jobs for bum paychecks and took the subway to work every day and worried about their bills were dead. I mean, they were suckers. They had no balls. If I wanted something, I just took it. I ran everything. I paid the bills. I paid the host. I even paid the masked maniac. Everybody had their hands out. Everything was for the taking. We always called each other good fellas. You would always hear from somebody. You're gonna like Don Tony. He's all right. He's a good fella. He's one of us. But if you're part of my crew, nobody ever tells you they're gonna get rid of you. It doesn't happen that way. There weren't any arguments or curses like in the movies. See, your haters come with smiles. They come as your friends, the people who've claimed they care the most for your life. And now that's all over. And that's the best part. Today everything is different. There's lots of action. I don't have to wait around for everything like everyone else. Oh, I didn't get the vaccine? Fuck you, vaccine me. Oh, your delivery guy has COVID? Fuck you, feed me. Right after I moved here, I ordered egg noodles and ketchup, and I got spaghetti with meat sauce. I'm no longer an average nobody, while they get to live the rest of their lives like a bunch of schnooks.